What's up? 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 What is up? How are y'all doing today? It is Friday, and y'all know what that means. That means we're gonna have us a good old time tonight. I am your host, Emmanuel Eman Noisette, and I want to welcome each and every one of you for spending some time. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Guys, we have got a lot of movie news to go through tonight. We are going to talk about Robert Downey Jr. He just had an interview where he dropped a couple nuggets that we definitely need to talk about. Talk about Iron Man, talked about his time in Marvel, talked about Tropic Thunder. It's going to be something we got to go through. And then we're going to go through the my review for Echo, the series that is currently on Hulu and Disney Plus. I will give you my thoughts on that. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Jonathan Majors interview, a couple of takeaways from that, and what it means for the future going forward. And then, of course, we got so many other things we will cover along the way. So, first and foremost, I want to thank you guys so much once again for the fantastic contributions and love and support that many of you poured out last week. Yes, I got emotional. Yes, the thug tears came out. I try to hold back, but sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, but it definitely comes from a positive place. And I was just I had a moment to kind of go back and actually read more of the comments, while I had my Viola Davis face and snot going. And I just cannot express to you guys how appreciative I am of each and every one of you. And it's not even just the people here on the lives. It's also the folks that some of y'all be showing up after the fact, outside of the live chats and stuff. And I want to make sure that you guys get the same love as well. Once again, and I don't know I don't know who this is, but for the second time, Mr. Gary Cooper, whoever you are, whatever I don't know if you be in the lives, I don't know if you offline, I don't know, but whoever Gary Cooper is, thank you. Once again, when I had computer issues, I don't know where Gary Cooper came out of nowhere with a $250 PayPal contribution. And after the last live, Mr. Gary Cooper did that again. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my black little critic heart for the wonderful contributions. It so goes a long way. You guys have no idea. Actually, I could tell y'all where it goes, and I will get to that in just a second. Because I do want to give a quick reminder for those of you guys that are new here. If you are new, if you want to contribute, if you want to talk on the lives and participate, all you got to do is subscribe. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to participate with one of the best live chats on all of YouTube. But I do have something to kind of share with you guys because, like I told y'all before. And by the way, let me also give a quick shout out to Terrence. Thank you so much, Terrence, for the $10 Cash App right before the show. And shout out to all of y'all on the replay gang. Shout out to the replay gang for hitting that thank you button. That also means a lot as well. So again, thank you. I know I sound like a broken record, but y'all gonna get these thanks. If y'all gonna make a brother cry, okay, on camera, y'all gonna get these thanks too, okay? But I do want to share this one thing with y'all because a lot of times I haven't had a Kobe update in a while, and we had some very, very scary news with Kobe. And so it was about a couple days ago. I was at work and I'm coming back from work, and my wife is like just blowing up my phone, and she's just like, yo, like what's going on? Where you at? And I'm like, yo, I'm on my way back to work. I'm on my way back home, like what's the problem? And she was like, did you get the pictures? Did you see what happened? And I was like, no, what is it? And she was like, yo, Kobe just he just threw up. And I'm sitting here like, dogs throw up every day, B. What's the big deal? And she was like, no, but he threw up and he had diarrhea, and there was blood, a lot of blood in the diarrhea. And I was like, oh, okay, like we gotta take him to the vet. But the vet was closed at this time. It was like 6. So the vet was closed. So we had to take him to to like the overnight ER or whatever, right? So again, I wasn't home yet, so she's driving with the rest of the kids. They take him to the ER. I guess they get him tested or whatever, and she puts me on three-way with the doctor, right? So the doctor sits here and says like, okay, after the test, found out that he got parvo. And for what I ain't never heard of parvo, but apparently parvo is like a really, really bad disease. It's a bad virus that dogs can get. And it can be very, very bad, right? And so the vet is telling me like, yeah, this normally comes in puppies, and I'm like, like, didn't he get vaxxed for this? Like, Kobe's almost like 2 years old. Like, how's he getting puppy viruses and stuff? And they were like, well, people can still catch it. Dogs can still catch it or whatever. And I was like, okay, like, what are we looking at here? And she was like, so, for the initial test, it's like $120. But if you want me, the vet, to like examine him, that's like another 200. And then if we're going to give him treatments like IVs and, I don't know, whatever shots and stuff like that, that's going to be another 200. So I was like, that's like 500 something dollars. Like, golly, like, so I'm like, okay, I mean, so tell me, what do I need to look for? Like, what are the symptoms here? And like, what happens if we like just take him home? Because the wife had already made an appointment like for the very next morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was sitting here like, can we just wait? Because I'm like, yo, $500. Like, I mean, listen, I'm just saying that's kind of quick to just drop out of nowhere. So she was like, well, you could take him home if you want to, but like, if his symptoms get worse, if things get bad, it can be very problematic, And I was like, okay, so let's say we take him home. What do I need to look for? Like, if I stay with him, I'm sometimes I sleep with Kobe overnight just to kind of make sure, watch him over the night or whatever. What do I need to look for? And they were like, well, low energy. If he has low energy and he's not doing nothing, then that's going to be a major sign. So I said, okay, look, I think we're gonna have to bring him home, but y'all tell me, because I haven't seen him, what was his energy looking like? And my wife was like, well, Kobe put up a fight. And I was like, what you mean? He put up a fight when they tried to, take the test on him. And I was like, wait a minute, what's this test involved? Well, the test involved sticking a little something up his rear end, and my dog was not going for it. And I was like, that's my dog. That's my dog. Don't let nobody violate you without consent. That's what I'm talking about, Kobe. But either way, so I was like, okay, so Kobe had enough energy to fight something off and keep people away. He was trying to keep his, anal virginity. I'm like, sounds like he good to me, right? Sound like he okay. Sound like he said no to the Diddy party. Like, I'm fine with this. So I was like, look, yo, bring this dog back, because they over here talking about, $500 for this, and we don't even know it. And I'm saying, like, his symptoms ain't matching what you saying he should be experiencing. So I'm like, man, bring that dog back. Pay for the first test, but we ain't doing no $500. Bring that dog back. So I stayed with Kobe overnight. Didn't feed him nothing because we didn't want him to throw up or nothing like that. And I'm looking at Kobe. Kobe's fine. Now, Kobe, as he's sitting around me, because he knows good and well, we don't do the whole pooping in the house thing unless you're sick, of course, obviously. Kobe be coming around me, and all he does is poop. And he keep on pooting and looking back at me because he knows it's rude. He'll just sit there. I'll be just playing my game, minding my business, and all of a sudden I hit my nostril. Oh, and Kobe just like, bro, you just gonna sit here on my feet and just poot in front of my face? Like, man, get your tail over there to the bed. So I'm sitting here like, man, Kobe seemed fine to me. He rude as hell, but he seemed fine to me. Anyway, fast forward. I wake up in the morning. I take him to the vet. And the vet was just like, oh my gosh, he got parvo. Like, this is very contagious for dogs and stuff. So, we got to put you in an isolated room and all of this stuff. I was like, okay. So we go into the room, we sitting there, and Kobe again seems fine. Like he just chilling. Nurse comes in and she's like, yeah, we're gonna have to test him for parvo. And I was like, man, we just got tested like 12 hours ago. Like, why he gotta get another test? And we're like, man, we just gotta make sure. But the test was like $60. And I was like, all right, well, at least it's cheaper than the other place. Fine. And she was like, well, you're gonna have to hold him down. And I was like, you gonna stick that thing up his butt? She was like, yeah, that's the only way we can get this test. I was like, I looked at Kobe, he looked at me. I said, boy, down. Yeah, it's time. Sorry, man. So I held him down. Woo, that boy did not like nothing going up his booty hole, boy. I tell you. But listen, I was like, hey, man, listen, I'm here with you. All right, I'm here with you this time. We got to take this for the team. Okay, this is for your life. You are fighting for your booty and your life right now. So she goes and takes the test. Comes back, and I asked her, I was like, yo, nurse, if he, like, what's the alternative here? Because at the last place, they was like, man, it's gonna be $500, for this, but I'm not seeing the symptoms. What are our options here? And she was like, oh, well, if the test come back positive, and and he has it, and we got to take care of him, it's gonna be about 6-7. I said, oh, dang, $600, $700. All right, okay, I guess, she was like, no, $6,000 or $7,000. I said, oh, so he your dog now? $6,000-$7,000 at once? I looked at Kobe. He looked at me. I looked at Kobe. He looked at me. And I said, hey, look, Kobe, look, I got a checking in the savings, the way my bank work. Um, I love you. I love you, but it's the checking in the savings, bro. So I asked the nurse, I said, listen, what do people do? Because this don't make no sense. $6,000-$7,000 to treat a dog? Like what? That's a car, ma'am. What are you talking about? And she was like, well, I was like, so what do people do? Like, what's a regular person supposed to do? I love my dog, but I ain't got that kind of bread. And she was like, well, people just often opt to euthanize. I said, damn. Let's see what those results are, please. So she goes back and gets the results. And this time I'm talking to my wife. I called my wife on three-way and I was like, yo, here, the test is coming back or whatever. I just wanted you to hear and all that. And she was like, yeah, so we got the results back for Kobe, and they came back as negative. And I was like, oh, wait, the hell are we supposed to do with that? So it was negative here, but it was positive earlier. Then my wife was like, oh, babe, sorry. When you called in on the three-way call, the doctor had just said that he had only tested slightly positive. I was like, so you mean to tell me I had this whole conversation with this other doctor from the other night, and that one word she couldn't throw in there? She couldn't throw that in. She was over here trying to finesse a smooth $500-$600 out of us, and she couldn't tell me nothing about the slightly positive thing. Like, I said, Kobe, let's go. We going home. We going home. I was like, no, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Okay, that's just not gonna happen, bro. Like, he not even showing the symptoms. You got a slightly, type. I call sus. Okay, probably tested him with a dirty needle or something. Anyway, Kobe's fine. Kobe's fine. We brought him home, gave him the food or whatever. But I tell you all that story because one, dogs are expensive, and that's ridiculous. And two, um, while I ain't got no $6,000-7,000 for them, I will say that because of y'all contributions and support, that would have covered Kobe had we fell for the okey doke with the other vet. So it's just one of those things where I just felt very, very humbled and blessed and fortunate that before a need even came up, I personally believe God already had us covered. Okay. I personally believe that before I even knew I had a need, God was like, it's cool. I got you. Because none of that stuff that happened last week was scripted, right? Not like I didn't know. I don't think that some of y'all knew. Like, it's not like y'all ganged up on me on purpose. So I'm sitting here like, yo, you know what? Whew. Because I was thinking about it. I was like, Kobe, I don't know. Maybe we're gonna have to like what do we get you stuffed? Like like do we have a service for you? Like, bro, I don't know. I don't know what to do, it had me asking questions, questions I didn't feel like entertaining at the time. But anyway, Kobe is fine. Kobe is great. Um, you know, got groomed, and I think that's where he got it from because he don't interact with other dogs like that. It's too cold to go to a dog park, so I think he got that little sickness from the groomers or whatever. But that's another conversation. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank y'all so much. Because all y'all contributions, y'all just be going, it goes right back to supporting the family, supporting the channel, supporting Kobe, and all of that. So I wanted to just say thank you and let y'all know what happens behind closed doors. Anyway, let's see what else. Do I have any others? I gave the Kobe update. Yep, did that. For anyone interested, I did finish God of War Ragnarok. Oh, what a game. Oh, what a game. That's a good game right there. I'm playing Valhalla right now and I'm stressed. My fingers hurt. My hands hurt because that whole game is just a problem. But I love it. That is such a work of art. If that didn't win Game of the Year, I don't follow all of that, but it should have won Game of the Year, in my opinion. Fantastic. All right, let's do some quick shout outs to see who's here. We'll get to some comments and then we'll get to some news. I got some other things I got to get off my chest, and then we will get going here. Let's see. We got Kristen Pratt holding it down with the Mod Squad. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Even if you do have to jump in and out, appreciate you so much. My man Reese is here. Thank you so much for being here. Sunspot, what is up? Anthony, good to see you. Hopefully you're getting some reps in the gym. Jay, what is up? How are you? We got the homie Zia Latrice back in action. Good to see you. 60 plus. How you doing? Come on now. Wouldn't be a live chat without Miss Harper. Thank you so much for being. Wait, are you here? Probably first hour catching. Okay, so you're gonna be here and maybe on the replay. All right. Either way, thank you so much for being here and holding it down. Anthony, good to see you as well. Thank you. My man Didier is back. What is up? Johnny Washington, what is going on, sir? Good to see you. Dex a reason. Thank you so much for being here. Samantha, happy New Year's to you, and thank you so much for being here. My man Mike is back here. What is up? Boss, thank you so much for being here. Treese, what is up? Talented one, I see you. My man Minister Crush, thank you so much for being here. Kimmy J, thank you for being here as well. Come on now, we got Mama J in the building. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Nelson V is here. What is up? My man Corey is here. What is up? How are you? Tanya, good to see you as well. Jessica, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Ism Schism, what is up? Callow, how you doing? We got the homie in my squad, Alib, good to see you. Nighthawk, good to see you as well. Easy, hello. Kristen, what is up? How are you? Jesus, how are you? Theo, what is going on? Let's see. I see last of my kin. Akuri, hello. CJ, thank you so much for coming back. Philroy, what is up? I love to see the vets coming back. I always appreciate y'all. Come on through. Top support in the building. Kiki West is here. Aisha, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Wilbur, what is up? Dorian, how are you? Raymond, I see you. My man Lou is back in action. Andrew, thank you so much for being here. Deshaun, how are you? Let's see. Shar, good to see you as well. Dex, thank you so much for being here. Travis, I see you as well. My man Derek, what is up? How are you? Who else did we see? Come on now. We got the homie Rhonda's here too. Nina, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. There we go, all the way across the pond. Stamina MC, thank you so much for being here as well. And shout out to everyone that has made it out tonight. I really, really do appreciate y'all for real, for real. All right, now I'm gonna go through some of these comments real quick, and then we will get into another quick thing, and then we'll get into the topics for sure. Let's see, and if your question is something that requires a lot of thought, or if it's really off topic, I'll save it for later. Okay, just letting y'all know that now, or I'll save it whenever we get to that topic, so it can just kind of be all grouped together. Carbro, loved Echo for all representation, should have been longer. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for that. We will definitely get into Echo a little bit later on. Let's see, Derek. I was looking for the Usher Bucks last week. I appreciate that, man. I don't know where they are. I don't control the Usher Bucks at all. But yeah, I don't know. That's a Mrs. E-Man question. Anthony, thank you so much. Sending well wishes to Kobe. Thank you so much. He definitely needs it all. But yeah, he is all good for now. All good for now. Let's see. Mike, what's going on? Yeah, y'all get involved. Grow the channel. I busted in, broke the F on my Marvel nerd stuff, and they accepted me. That's awesome. Even though I feel like I should be a part of the squad, but it's cool though. I'm happy, man. Mike, I appreciate you, brother, just for being here. Thank you so much, man, for your constant support and your participation. I really appreciate it. Let's see, Anthony, Kobe out here baking chocolate chip brownies. Ugh. It's more like chocolate chip pudding. That's what that was, really. Look, thankfully I didn't have to clean that up. Shout out to my daughter, because she did her thing. Derek, Kobe eating mushrooms again. Nah, not this time. He wasn't high this time. I think he learned his lesson, because the last time we walked and there were some mushrooms, he was like, nah. And he just said, no, I'm good. I'm passing on that. So he good on that. No mushrooms this time. Let's see. What you say, Anthony? Kobe said, the booty is mine. It belongs to me. You can't have my booty. Listen, he had to keep that sucker pure. Okay. And I'm not mad at that at all. Let's see. Darian, I'll save yours for when we get to Echo. Oh man, Kimmy J, thank you so much. So great. Oh my gosh. Treats for Kobe, and get yourself something too after that ordeal. What a roller coaster. Yes, it was definitely a roller coaster for sure. I mean, I'll be honest, like listen, we even bought the wellness plan or whatever. So, but I found out that the wellness plan is really not even insurance. It's really just a way to pay for all his shots and checkups and stuff. And I'm like, so now I gotta go get insurance for him too. Like, oh, and some of these pet insurances are not all that great. I mean, when they sit here and be like, oh, we'll cover 60% of costs. I was like, I don't want to pay 30% of $7,000. Like, I don't want to pay that either. I didn't pay that much for Kobe. I'm just saying, and from what I've heard from other pet owners, it only gets worse as these pets get older. They got to do. I know one of my guys had a dog who the hip got busted. They started. I think they had cancer or something. Like, what? And then the insurance don't want to do nothing. Nah, man. That's a lot. That's a lot right there. But thank you so much, Kimmy. I really, really do appreciate it, and I'm sure Kobe loves it as well. Kristen, for lube and treats for Kobe. Not the lube though. Come on now, y'all not gonna do this to my boy now. Not the lube. Thank you so much, Kristen. I appreciate you for sure. All right. We did have one thing. Now, this is a piggyback off of the last live that we did. And I told y'all somebody brought it up. I apologize who it was. Somebody brought it up earlier, and I did want to talk about it. Just real quick. Now you guys know. Hold on, let me make a little banner for this. Just a little something, because did bring a little joy to my heart when I saw this. So y'all know your boy came up with this nice little campaign for a little bit, to recast T'Challa and all that. And certain channels, took issue with the campaign. Some channels didn't even bother to read the petition. They didn't bother to read any articles or heck, even reach out to me, even after I've reached out to them to get clarification. And it was always fascinating to me that when you didn't listen to the internet chatter and you actually read the petition or spoke to me, people was like, I I think I agree. This this actually makes sense, right? Because we were never asking for anything outlandish. We were never asking for anything that was disrespectful. It was always a matter of like, yo, Marvel, tell your stories, honor Chadwick, just don't end the character permanently. That was nothing about that was unreasonable. Nothing. There were so many different avenues presented, but all this resistance. There was all this resistance. And, I'm not going to bring up the receipts because I think many of you have already done that online. And my channel speaks for itself. I've brought up the receipts when they came up. But when I tell you, sometimes people just want to come full circle, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So just real quick, just a little something I thought was pretty interesting. Look, hold on. Where my stuff at? Hold on. I wanna listen to this too. Let me listen to this too with y'all. Let's just listen to this real quick.
The MCU needs a new T'Challa, a new Tony Stark, new X-Men, and we shouldn't have to wait until 2030 to get them. The MCU needs a new T'Challa, a new Tony Stark, new X-Men, and we shouldn't have to wait until 2030 to get them.
I wholeheartedly agree. I agree. Why do I agree? Because I've been saying it for 3-something years. Had I not been saying, I know, listen, I got so much stuff on my channel basically saying this years ago. There's no point in me bringing up the receipts. I could, but I ain't got that kind of time because we'd be here for another 3 years. But what have I said before? Listen, better late than never. Matter of fact, I predicted that this would happen. I told y'all that people was going to be caught up in the emotion, but later, when you step outside, when it's all said and done, you're going to look back and be like, you know what? For the long term, there's going to be negative impacts if you don't bring this character back because it's fiction. But I'm just going to say I really enjoyed. Man, boy, 2024 is coming together. Okay, just the accountability is coming through, right? So I just want to say I wholeheartedly agree. Now, by the way, and I do want to mention this too, just real quick. I'm not going to drag nobody specifically, but earlier in that video, if you've seen that video, I noticed how there were some comments made about certain channels not being serious channels if they covered the Jonathan Majors case. And I just want to briefly address that because I'm going to be talking about the case later on. I do agree with the point that was made that covering any type of trial can be problematic if it was done recklessly, because what it does do, and this is something that I try to avoid from the very beginning, is that it can create and feed negativity to whatever side that you're on, right? You get a whole lot of people coming out the woodworks with conspiracy theories. You got a whole lot of people that are just like, I'm team this and I'm team that or whatever. And like when you cover these things recklessly, that can contribute to that fire. Now, this is nothing to do with you guys, the audience, because as the audience, y'all gonna watch what y'all gonna watch and y'all are entitled to that. But the commentary that was made was more so directed to outlets. And I just, whether they were talking about me directly or not, just wanted to kind of set the record straight that like from the very jump, I always try to maintain, and I'm gonna do that too when we talk about the Jonathan Majors trial later, a level of integrity where I'm not feeding one side or the other. I might give commentary because I'm just an average person talking about these things, but I'm still going to try and make sure everybody is held accountable, as in, hey, this is only one side. Hey, we don't have all the information. Hey, let's just, be cool about this. So, anyway, I just thought it was kind of slick how they wanted to throw that in there, which I felt was a little bit of an underhanded insult to other channels, but at the same time, I see where they were coming from, but it ain't got nothing to do with me. Because I think that as a channel in general, and I'm including y'all too, I think we handled the Jonathan Major stuff responsibly. And I'm proud of that. I am proud of that. So anyway, let's see. I got one more here. Sim, oh my gosh. Say E-Man and E-Fam, send us some support before I doze off. Long week, but this live is best way to end the day. Stay warm, fam. Glad that Kobe is okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Sim. Make sure you get some good rest because I know them long weekends be a whole thing. But thank you so much for that. All right, so let's see. We got that out the way. We did that. Okay, I think we can get into the topics. I'm gonna try to blow through these because I got things I got to do. Your boys got some places to be over the weekend as well. So I am going to try. I'm going to try to get this going quickly. All right. So first up, I don't know about y'all, but of course, I told y'all before that I love horror movies, and one genre of horror movies that I've always enjoyed were zombie films. I mean, if it's not demon possession stuff, zombie movies get me all the time. And when I tell you, like, Dawn of the Dead was probably one of my favorite movies, mainly because it introduced fast running zombies. All the time we see zombies just like this, but no, boy, when them zombies coming at you like Cat Williams and that, boy, when they hitting that 444, boy, no, that's when I'm scared, right? So outside of Dawn of the Dead, the only other zombie movie Train to Busan was also fantastic. But another one that I really enjoyed was 28 Days. Oh man, get out of my face, dude. Not you. Sorry. 28 Days Later. You see that young Cillian Murphy there. 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. Those had me going. And man, when I tell you, that opening from 28 Weeks Later still gets me to this day. That opening, I mean, if you have not seen 28 Weeks Later, I strongly encourage you to watch it. Please do. Because that opening with the husband and the wife, yikes. That's the kind of moral dilemma I need to see more of in movies. What you gonna do if you see your wife getting caught up by some zombies? What you gonna do? You gonna go back? You gonna run away? What you gonna do? Wife, spouse, whatever. What you gonna do? Woo, that opening had me. That had me. So anyway, because of those two movies, that got me extremely excited for this news, which is basically that 28 years later is officially now in development as a sequel to the zombie classic. It says here that the Hollywood Reporter reports that Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, who directed the original 28 Days Later, are teaming up to make 28 Years Later. I am here for this. I love it. I cannot wait. Oh my gosh. Let's go. And you getting the original folks back into this too. I'm with it. I cannot wait. I am definitely here for that all day long. Now some other movie news that we have. I think we talked about this before. But there is yet again another Michael Jackson movie coming out. And this biopic is now officially set to come out in 2025. That is the tentative release date anyway for now. And in case you did not know, this movie is going to be directed by Antoine Fuqua. So that's the Training Day. That's the director from Equalizer, Emancipation with Will Smith. So Antoine Fuqua is no slouch. The guy knows what he's doing. And in case you were wondering, in case you did not know, it is going to be Michael Jackson's nephew, Jafar Jackson, who is going to play the pop star. Now, I still think that's a tall order. Okay, that is a tall order for anyone to play the king of pop. And it's really just because when you have somebody that's so recognizable. So, I mean, Michael Jackson was internationally known, globally known. Okay, everybody knows how this man talked, how he walked, how he sang, how he danced. And if you just come up short on any one of those things, people gonna be looking at it with a whole different eye. So I'm just saying, I hope his nephew does a fantastic job. Me and my wife just got done watching. I think it was another Michael Jackson movie. I think it was like on Tubi or something. I don't know where it was on, what it was playing on, but it was like from the perspective of his bodyguards. I don't know if anyone has seen that. I don't even know what it was called. But yeah, it was from the perspective of his bodyguards. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, that was actually kind of refreshing, because we've seen the Jackson 5 story. We've seen how they grew up and all that. But what I like is seeing different angles and different things. And by the way, no, we will not talk about Flex Washington because that did not exist. Okay, that didn't happen. We're not going to do that. But I'm hoping in this biopic, we get to see more stuff. I hope that we get to see different stories. Maybe we talk about the Beatles catalog. We talk about the things that Mike was doing behind closed doors that maybe people just didn't know about, whether they're good, whether they're bad, whatever. But I hope we get something new and different to really kind of, bring a better reason for making this movie. But anyway, those are the movie updates we have for today. You guys let me know, how do you feel about 28 years later coming out? How do you feel about this Michael Jackson biopic? What are you hoping to see out of either one of these? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. All right. Let's see. Prince, what you got? I had a dog get hurt on a job site back in the day. My dad sat me down and told me my dog was total. Damn, not total though. Well, I understand that analogy. I do get it, because I remember I was driving home from work one day, and for whatever reason, I don't know who did, somebody let their dogs just out. Like the door was just open, and this person had like 3-4 dogs just running back and forth in the street out and all this stuff. And one of them got hit. And I saw the one that got hit busted up its hip, and it couldn't move its hind legs at all. And I was like, yeah, that's a wrap, bro. That's a wrap. Because I don't know. First of all, if somebody's willing to let you out like that and not be present, like, I don't know if they're going to pay to get your hip replaced and fixed. And it did not look good. Did not. I felt bad for the dog, but it did not look good. Anthony, what you got? I gotta admit, I didn't think that they would ever make Michael Jackson a biopic, because I wondered how they would handle the child sexual abuse thing. And that's going to be something up there too. I mean, in the other biopic that I was watching, and it was weird because they actually had, I think they had an Indian guy, like from India, playing Michael Jackson, and it was so awkward. Like, he looked like Michael Jackson. The way he sounded, like you could hear the little, I don't know, British colonizer twang from his accent. It was so weird. It was so weird. But that could be something that they address. That could be something that they, go into. I mean, it's obviously, and sadly, one of the other things that is synonymous with Michael Jackson are all the allegations and stuff, right? Like, yes, one of the best dancers, performers, singers, etc. But you also got that ugly dark side as well. So we'll see where Fuqua wants to go with it. and see what happens. We'll see. Rhonda, I would watch in horror as my husband is ripped apart. Yikes. Crying and driving as fast as I can, checking to make sure I have my gun and ammo. Listen, but that sounds real. That sounds real. Like that. Listen, don't nobody, everybody's not a hero. And that's what I like about those movies is that, they did have some heroic stuff. Look at Jeremy Renner's character, right, in the movies. And I thought that was dope. That was a nice little way, to kind of send him off, but you got to keep it real. You gotta keep it real. Let's see. Raymond, what you got? I'm a big fan of I'm a big MJ fan, but I'm concerned as to how they can fit 50 years of career and life into one movie. Well, it depends, right? I mean, like editing could be easily done. But maybe it doesn't do a whole life story. Maybe it just kind of, references some things. I mean, do you really need to see every single Jackson 5 performance? Do you have to see Joe Jackson going crazy on them? Like I feel like it really depends on what the focus is. And maybe some things are just flashbacks. You can edit those things together. I think it'll be all right. Let's see, Lamar, how you gonna ban Flex Washington talks as I was typing his name? Listen, no, that was who was it that said it? I saw it in the corner of my eye just real quick. I don't know who said it. Was it Johnny? It was either Johnny or who or was it Blue? I don't know. One of y'all said it. Somebody said Flex, and I was like, no, we're gonna stop that right now. We're gonna stop it. We cannot go there. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Anthony, Flex is a family friend and he makes fun of it. Good. I hope that he I like that. I like it when actors are aware when the stuff that they have done, how it actually impacts culture. Don't stay in a state of disillusion, and sit here and be like, oh yeah, that terrible movie I did, it's actually a masterpiece. No, don't do that. Okay. You like George Clooney, my man knows the bat nipples did not work. Okay. He knows that. And I respect him for that. Okay. When they asked him, but don't you want to come back as Batman? He said, nah, y'all don't have enough drugs to bring me back. So mad respect. Mad respect. All right, let's move on. We have just a little awards talk. It is award season right now. You guys probably noticed, maybe y'all didn't, I don't know. I did not want to cover the Golden Globes. I don't care about the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes has such a long history of not only the big controversy that they had, but they also had the fact that they're made up of Hollywood foreign press. So that means a lot of people in the press that are just not from America, right? And a lot of them didn't even have like one black person. That the minorities were like ridiculous. How you gonna be international and still be racist and not have no real people of color or no real minority? How? So for a long time, I just don't really care what the Golden Globes have to say. Matter of fact, this last award ceremony, the second I saw best animated movie go to The Boy and the Heron and not Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, you lost all credibility with me. I don't really care what y'all have to say. I really don't. If Spider-Man is not your best movie of the animated category, what are you doing? So no, I did not care about it. I saw Joe Coy getting trashed online. His jokes, bro, like who told you to make fun of Taylor Swift? Like how she's untouchable. You can't. That's almost as crazy as making fun of Beyonce. You can't talk about them unless it's like in the most uplifting of ways. Like that was whoever even thought of those jokes should have been fired at the Taylor Swift. Get out. You right there. Yep, we saw that. Get out. Should have been automatic. But anyway, the other awards talk. So I'm not talking about Golden Globes. I don't care. But one thing that did happen over the week was that a sister that has been far too neglected finally got some flowers, and that is Angela Bassett, Queen Mother. She has received an honorary Oscar at the 14th Governor's Award in LA. And, I've got mixed feelings about that. I got mixed feelings about it because I personally believe that Angela's been screwed twice. Like, I believe that she's been snubbed twice. I mean, of course, for the whole Tina Turner thing, and then again for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Because if there was ever anything remotely good about that movie, it was the Queen Mother. She damn near carried the movie and had some of the best scenes in the film. And to lose it to Jamie Lee Curtis, who had like 2 minutes of screen time. Like, why wouldn't you give it? So for me, I love that she's getting her flowers here or at all, but I don't like the fact that y'all gave her basically a participation award. She should have y'all should have gave this to Jamie Lee Curtis. And y'all on the bigger night, because this wasn't even news. This didn't make the headlines. Did anybody tune in for the Governor's Awards? That's not the same as like the Oscars night. Angela deserves to be recognized on national television in front of tens of millions of people, so people understand that this woman has been doing the work for the longest. Okay, not at some side little event that don't nobody even know exists, and you just giving it to her for like just existing. Nah, man. So I have mixed feelings on this whole thing. I just think that she deserves more. She deserves more. So congrats to the Queen. She should definitely get more in this though. But there was some other awards to talk about, which was, one thing that's always kind of been an issue with a lot of the awards is the hosts. Who are you gonna get to host? Is the host gonna say something controversial or funny, epic, whatever? And listen, we come from a long line of award shows where you had like the Billy Crystals hosting, and this used to be like a really, really prestigious thing. You also had Kevin Hart, almost hosting until some old tweets came up a long time ago of him saying some homophobic things, at least people, allegedly or whatever. And he had to pull out, and it just didn't really work out for him, right? Well, Kevin is back here because after the Golden Globes, you had Joe Coy, who's a stand-up comic. He pretty much bombed. He pretty much bombed during the Golden Globes in his hosting debut, and it just did not go well. And Kevin Hart, pretty much responded to what it means to host award shows now for today's comics. And he had a lot to say here. He said, whatever little hope you had, I want to destroy it right now in terms of him hosting. Those gigs aren't good for comics. It's no shot to the Oscars, no shot to the Globes or anything else. Those just aren't comedy friendly environments anymore. I think they got it right one year where it was just like a bunch of personalities acting as the host, and that's a nice thing. It's a collaborative thing. Different people get to be responsible for one act, act two, act three. But the days of it being a room for a comic, those days are gone. And you know what? I kind of agree with him. Like, I think it probably would be a better look if you just didn't have an actual host and just had different people jumping in, doing different presentations, have different people doing different little skits, have people doing different little jokes, and move on. Like, I mean, I don't always go into these things looking for a host. Now, I will say that wasn't the case a long time ago, because when there was, and I tell y'all, it's so funny. The best thing of about a lot of award shows is usually not even the award. I mean, it is for us little film nerds and stuff like that. But for the average person, y'all not really tuning in for the awards all the time, but you will tune in if there's some controversy, if there's some drama. So, for example, when Oscars So White came out, when that started trending in 2016, something like that, oh, you better believe there was a whole lot of anticipation when Chris Rock was hosting back then. And then fast forward, same host. After that, the whole Oscar slap drama, you don't think that the very next Oscars, the ratings went up? Matter of fact, I told y'all better thank Will Packer because the ratings for the post slap were even higher than the slap Oscars. So a lot of the outside drama always plays a part. And that's sadly the best reason to tune in most of the time. But Kevin actually brings a little bit more insight into this, where he goes on to say, shout out to all those that have cracked the code and done it right early. You know, the Chris Rocks, Billy Crystals, the girls we've had like Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Ricky Gervais. There's a lot of people that understand that if you're not an industry comic, meaning a comic that has relationships of all, then those rooms are very cold. So me doing this, of course, at an advantage because I know the room, and for me, the familiar with so many. But for others, it's not the same. It's not the gig that it was of old. It's too much pressure on the idea of a comic and what's jokes and not jokes. So it's tough. Totally agree with him on this. I think it is very different when you have someone like Kevin Hart who has worked in a lot of different movies or worked with a lot of different people in the industry. Some might call him a plant, but he knows all these people. It's a lot easier for someone that knows everyone to poke fun and to joke and have these little moments versus let's just go get this comic from outside who maybe everyone doesn't know their sense of humor. Maybe they don't have that like you don't joke with just anybody. You know, like if we not cool like that, you can't just go cracking jokes on me. You know what I'm saying? Like now, if we go back or whatever, like, oh, okay, all right, man, you roasted me. That's fun. You know, that's why they be doing them roast sessions. And usually it's with people that they know, you know, or it's people that they get along with, you know. So I think Kevin is on point with this, but I don't know. What do y'all think about Kevin Hart's comments about hosting award shows? Do you agree with them that maybe they need to just go back and get other actors and celebrities to just maybe do a couple things here and there, maybe get rid of the host entirely? Or maybe you disagree. Maybe you think that, you know, they need some some actual people. I mean, they love them some Jimmy Kimmel. You know, Jimmy Kimmel see the boy, they be pushing that man hard as hell. So I don't know, whatever y'all think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let's see. Matthew, what you got? Just for the record, honorary anything is bull. Yes. I'm not a fan for the honorary stuff whatsoever. I think they also gave that to Sam Jackson. I'm like, out of all the movies Sam has done, who, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he ever had an Oscar. They gave him that. Nonsense. Jan, the Oscars have no cultural pulse unseasoned. This is also kind of true. You know, this is, I mean, but like, what do you expect? The Oscars are not, it's not BET, you know, like it's not the Source Awards. Like, what do you expect? You know, like I'm not that does not surprise me in any way, shape, or form. Not at all. All right, let's move on. We got Fantastic Four update because of course, why not? So of course, last thing we heard with Fantastic Four is that potentially we could get our Fantastic Four cast revealed sometime in the early quarter of this year. So maybe later this month, maybe in the next month or so. But the heavy rumors have been that Pedro Pascal, star from Last of Us, star from The Mandalorian, is in talks to play Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic. Now, the only thing though is, even though he was in talks to play this role, one of the situations was my man is busy. Okay, he's shooting Last of Us. He's shooting The Mandalorian. He's doing a lot of stuff. And one of the biggest challenges for him would be potentially his schedule. Well, this apparently is gonna free up a little bit because it says here that he's exiting a movie here. It says here that the Insider reports that Fantastic Four movie had initially been set to start shooting this April, which would seem to have given a window to Pedro Pascal to play Mr. Fantastic, as he is rumored to be doing and still fit filming season 2 of The Last of Us and Barbarian director Zach Gregor's Weapons around it. However, Pascal has now pulled out of Weapons due to scheduling conflicts, which coincide with the report change in shooting date for Fantastic Four. In other words, my man is making that Marvel room. Okay, he is moving things aside. He said, I don't need that. Give me that Marvel money. And he is coming, at least it looks like he is coming through to play Reed Richards. Because again, the only thing, according to the reports, that was holding him back as like a dead ringer for the role was his schedule. Well, if you drop out of one of your 15 movies, sounds like you making Marvel room. So I don't know. Are y'all excited for Fantastic Four? How do you feel about Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards? Does it matter to you at all? I don't know. Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. Let's see. Matthew, I watched that movie Jamie won an Oscar for. I'm still saying out loud she got an Oscar for that crap, and Queen Angela was passed over. Yes, that and I talked about it when it happened, and I recall saying something to the effect of, I feel like they gave Jamie that award as like a legacy award, like, we passed you up in the past, so here's the award that we should have gave you a long time ago. But my thing is like, so what does that say for the people that are currently doing the work? You gonna give Angela some retro award later, or in this case, the honorary award? Is that supposed to make up for the snub? Because it don't to me. So it's all messed up. I don't like it. I did like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I thought that was a fantastic film. Really, really creative. But yeah, the award thing was like, this ain't the time. This is not the time to give out pity awards or whatever. No. All right, moving on. We got to talk about this. Game of Thrones was, and probably still is, one of the greatest TV shows that has ever been made. It's easily top 3. Whatever you want to argue, it's in the top 3, whether you watched it or not. I've told y'all this so many times. A show is very cool and it's very good when you have people coming out the woodworks, when nobody asks for their opinion and they have to let you know, I didn't watch Game of Thrones. What? Okay. Like, you doing something real well when people got to tell you that they don't watch the show. You know how many shows I don't watch? But that show was doing the work for so long that if you hadn't watched it, if you didn't like it, you was in a small minority. Okay. And I guess that was some weird kind of flex for people. But even with its greatness, Game of Thrones still will probably never live down the terrible ending, the disappointing ending. The ending definitely felt rushed. The ending never really lived up to people's expectations the way that it was building up. And it was a real letdown. It was a real letdown, and I'm saying that lightly. Now, I'm not one of those people that say I hated it. I still think there were some cool things done in it, but man, it could have been better. It could have been leaps and bounds better. Shout out to them dragons, because House of the Dragons right now is kind of picking up the pace. Like, look, we know that other one was just kind of messing up, but we gonna pick this up. But anyway, we finally got the 2 writers who were behind Game of Thrones, and they're finally speaking. Now, here's the thing: they talked about the reaction that they got after doing the series or whatnot. Is both of them are the ones on the left side. And in case you didn't know, these 2 dudes on the left, they were like the hottest thing in the industry. Like, when you have the number one show, you're going to be the number one free agent on the market the second they were done. And there was a lot of talk about them just leaving the show in a hurry, leaving the show, for the money and stuff like that. They was going to come out with some other TV show called Confederates or something like that. Had something to do with what if the South had won and black folks was on this side and white folks was on this side. Didn't go nowhere. But they actually reacted and gave some commentary about, like, they're finally speaking up about all of these things. So I did want to talk about this. And then, by the way, they also were in talks for doing a Star Wars movie, and we're going to talk about that as well. It says here, though, another common assumption with the writers is that they ditched the Thrones to make more money elsewhere. One of their little noticed decisions goes against that idea. As the creators of Game of Thrones, Benioff and Weiss were contractually guaranteed producer credits on all future Game of Thrones spinoffs. A lifetime of franchise mailbox money for doing nothing on House of the Dragon, for starters. And they turned it down. Nobody does this. You mean to tell me y'all could have had blank checks for anything Game of Thrones related, and y'all turned that down? And y'all wouldn't have to do no work? I mean, I've asked this before, but like, why don't y'all like money? I mean, what? I don't know how to classify that. Like, I don't know if that's, you got to either have a high moral standard where you standing on some other type of business that I ain't never heard of, or you got to be on some sort of level of privilege where you just literally don't need it. I ain't never heard nobody saying, I don't want no free money with no strings attached. I ain't never heard of that. This is wild. But this is what they actually said. They said that HBO was kind of confused. I remember their lawyer saying, but it's just money and we're going to pay you. And Weiss came in and said, I don't think there is such a thing as free money. That's a lie. For us, if our name is on it, especially that, while being completely detached and uninvolved, it felt like the strain that would come with that hands-off approach, with its success or failure or anything in between, was not worth it. So, in other words, it sounded like they were concerned that by not even being involved, being away from the project, collecting checks. Didn't nobody say they was going to put their names on stuff. They just said that we just going to pay you for it. Even the lawyer was like, it's just money. But they said, nah, it ain't worth that. That's a lie. But like I said, yo, if that's your moral standard, okay. Because I sure enough would have been sitting there collecting them checks like, look, man, oh, that show sucked. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Oh, that show was great. Yeah, that was me. Pay me. Do you know how many Game of Thrones series spinoffs that they were talking about making? It was almost like 5. It was almost 5. And do you know how much content they could make with Game of Thrones for life? For life? I'm sorry. They if that ain't fumbling the bag, I don't know what it is. I mean, I get you more. Listen, I get your principles. I get it, but I'm just saying it wouldn't be me. Definitely would not be me. Anyway, they also go on to talk about what could have been their Star Wars movie, because like I said, they was the number one free agents out there for a long time. And of course, Lucasfilm was like, yo, come on over and make us a Star Wars movie. And now they're finally talking about what's going on with the Star Wars movie, because as you know, Lucasfilm be talking, they've been talking a long time about Star Wars movies that don't never happen for a long time. And now we finally got their side of the story here. And it said here that we wanted to do the first Jedi, basically how the Jedi Order came to be, why it came to be, the first lightsaber. And we were annoyed as hell when Rian Johnson, and they were friends too, when Rian Johnson called his movie The Last Jedi. He completely destroyed the obvious title for what we were working on. They go on to say here, Lucasfilm ended up not wanting to do a first Jedi story. We had a very specific story in mind, and ultimately they decided they didn't want to do that. And we totally get it. It's their company and their IP, but we weren't the droids they were looking for. That was funny. So, okay. I'm not even shook up on this. I'm not even tore up about it, because now don't get me wrong, I would have liked to see that. Now I believe James Mangold is going to do a movie that might be about the first Jedi Order. Maybe not the first Jedi, but maybe the Order and like how they came to be, something like that. No, I'm sorry. His movie was going to be about the origins of the Force, like where did the Force come from or something like that. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, we could have had a movie about the first Jedi. I don't know. Star Wars been all over the place. I mean, we're going to talk about him a little bit more, but I don't know how much we would have missed with this or not. But anyway, y'all let me know. What do you think about the idea of passing on the free money? Do you agree with their decision? Maybe you see their side of it. I don't know. Would you have taken that deal of lifetime earnings on all spinoffs and you ain't got to do no work? What do you think about their comments about the Star Wars movie they would have made? Do you want to see a movie about the first Jedi ever, the first lightsaber? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. All right, let's see. Nelson, only watch a few episodes of Game of Thrones and them dragons. Come on, man. Well, Nelson, we already know what else you haven't been watching. We know that too. Yeah, we know that too. But yikes. All right, guys, let's see. Let's move on. We got another thingy here. The Last of Us. So Last of Us show currently on HBO Max. This is based off of the very, very popular video game that I still refuse to play, because yes, I don't play scary survival stuff. That ain't for me. But there is no question that this game has been one of the best in a long time, and the HBO series has also been viewed as one of the best video game adaptations brought to at least in media in general. So the first season went by very, very well, but now there's a lot of anticipation for the second season and what they're going to do. Of course, there are some people that have already played Last of Us Part 2, and some of y'all already know what's going to happen. But I am still under the belief that they will follow what happens in season 2 exactly. I think that they're going to have to stretch some things first just to make people stay, because if they do what they did in the game, I think you're gonna lose folks real fast, I think. But for those of y'all, and we're not gonna get into spoilers or anything, for those of y'all that did not hear, we just got a new casting update for who's gonna be in season 2, and it is going to be the role of Abby. And Abby is going to be played by Caitlin Dever. She has now been officially cast for season 2. It says here that and this is from the producers here. It says here our casting process for season 2 has been identical to season 1. We look for world-class actors who embody the souls of the characters in the source material. Nothing matters more than talent. And we're thrilled to have an acclaimed performer like Caitlin join Pedro, Bella, and the rest of our family. Now, this is where things get a little tricky. They said nothing else matters but acting. And I have also told y'all, whenever you want to fan cast, whenever you want to dream up who should play this role, that role, whenever y'all want to do this, the number one thing you want to do is put acting talent first. You can always put makeup on. You can don't worry about height, because everybody's short and camera angles are a thing. So height don't matter. Makeup can be done, but acting should be number one. But at the same time, acting cannot be the only thing that you look at. Now, let me just say this. Let's look at this here. Caitlin is a really good actress, right? She was in that movie, No One Will Save You. Remember that alien movie I was telling y'all I love? She was in that movie. Now, in that movie, Caitlin looked, and I'm not trying to shame nobody, but I'm just saying, she looked very young, right? Like, she looked like a very, very young girl. Bella Ramsey, who plays Ellie or whatever in The Last of Us. I think I told y'all in my little stories about going to Hollywood and going to the award shows and stuff. I met her. Bella Ramsey also looks extremely young for her age. Both of them are in their 20s. Both of them. And neither one of them look like they're in their 20s at all. But that's not the issue here. The issue here is the fact that this is who they cast as Abby. Now, again, this is not about body shaming. It's not about none of that. But I just want y'all to see the comparisons here. This is Caitlin. Okay? Caitlin, look, she got a nice look. She looks so young here. So young. Okay? And I think she's like, 21, something like that. All right? But look, this is her. Y'all, listen, you see this? Nice dress. You see this? Now let me show y'all what Abby looked like. This is what Abby looked like. Okay? This is what Abby looks like. You see the gun show on Abby? Hold on, let's go back. Let's look at this and let's look at that. Let's look at this and let's look at that. This is Abby. This is Abby. Abby got more cuts than I got on my arms. Look at Abby. Would y'all look at the gun show? She got 2 tickets and some guest passes to the gun show. Listen, Caitlin cool. Caitlin is cool. I'm just saying, I don't know if she got a +1. She might have to be someone's +1 to the gun show. So, I totally agree that yes, acting has to come first. But Abby seemed like a very specific character that creates very specific expectations. And no, I'm not saying go get somebody like Ronda Rousey or some UFC fighter or nothing like that, because you do want someone that can act first. I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave a jacket on or something. I don't know. But I'm curious to see how this all happens. I mean, don't get me wrong. People used to body shame Gal Gadot because she was a very thin woman and she had to play Wonder Woman, and they made that work. They made that work. Maybe this works now. I don't know. Maybe this works. But I don't know. What do y'all think about Miss Deaver getting the role as very swole Abby? How do you feel about it? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. Let's see. All right, Diddy, what you got? I doubt D&D pass up that money. I think HBO pulled the offer after season 8, and they are trying to save face. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. Listen, it's their story, and they sticking to it. Maybe they did. Listen, if I was them, if I was HBO, I would have pulled that too. You know, like that offer would have had to come before season 8. It had to come after that. Like, and maybe, matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised after, because again, these dudes were like in high demand. People was trying to they was getting offers for so much stuff, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if HBO was like, yeah, about that. Nah, get that back. Nah, we ain't. Nah, G. Let's see, Anthony. You talking about Nelson? What about Twisted Metal? So the difference is, I never told y'all when I was gonna watch it. Nelson said that he was gonna watch this like soon, and that was like 5 years ago. So I told y'all I will eventually get to it. I didn't put no deadline. I never told y'all soon. That's the difference. But thank you so much. Kiki, Last of Us Part 1 is not scary. I promise. Now, Part 2 is a different story. Just don't play at night. But that's not the way I'm built. Because if I play the first one, I'm going to have to play the second one. So I already know. Matter of fact, I watch my coworkers, when they play at home. I ain't gonna trick on nobody, but when they play at home, I've seen them, play their little games, and I've seen different gameplay, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want that stress. I've seen the stress that people go through playing that game. I don't want it. You got to look for ammo, you got to craft things, you got to do all this stuff. Nah, can't do it. I was like, yeah, I saw what you had to fight. I saw that big old thing that you had to fight, the Rat King or whatever, rat something. Oh, no, thank you. Can't do it. Lamar, I still feel the same about Gal Gadot. Okay, girl may have to hit the gym. I mean, again, she might, but they might do something where this is my guess. My guess is that one of the appeals with Abby is that she's no joke and she's a fighter, right? So they might just do something where she's probably not as strong, but maybe she's as vicious and violent. And I think that if you have enough violent acts, that can probably make up for any lack of muscle here or there. Now, I don't think she got to wear any cut off sleeve shirts, but I think they can work around it. I hope so. Anthony, what you got? I played Last of Us 2 and did not like the story. I watched the chronological order. I enjoyed it. Hopefully, they will not have it play out like this and not have a jump around. Not every story needs to be non-linear plot. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not opposed to if they want to jump around here and there. And thank you so much, by the way, for that. That was really generous of you. I'm not opposed to it. I think that they might have to jump around in the timeline. In order to stretch out, again, no spoilers, but to stretch out what happens in part 2. I think that there's a difference in how the game plays and the story in the game versus what you need to tell on TV to keep people engaged. I think that's the difference, and that factor is what might affect the storytelling moving forward. Let's see. What you say here, boss? Lesser men than them have taken the money, like Bryan Singer and the Lifetime X-Men producer checks, and he may be the worst person in Hollywood. Well, listen, I don't know who's gonna turn down that kind of money, bro. Anytime, lifetime, and maybe pass that on to my kids. Oh my gosh, nah, G, that I can't do it. I can't pass that. I can't walk away from that. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Okay. Where's my man at? I need stamina. Stamina, I need your help with this because I know this is going to involve a little bit of the UK if Stamina's still here. I heard about this movie coming out, but I did not know if it was a joke. I didn't know if it was real. And apparently, they came out with a trailer for it. I'm not opposed to, I don't even know how to address this, but apparently, and I don't keep up with all the latest rappers, but apparently Donald Glover is going to play 21 Savage in a brand new movie about 21 Savage's life. My question is why? 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 Why is this a thing? So it says Donald Glover directs and plays 21 Savage in the movie trailer with new music. And I watched the trailer. Now, I can't play it. And no, even the audio, you can get flagged for all of that, and they take the channel down or they take the video down. But I watched the video. Now, I will say, I like the trailer. It's like 4 minutes long. It's really a music video. It's a music video that acts like a movie trailer. So I do like it. I'm still just questioning why 21 Savage needs a movie at all. I'm just saying, whenever we're doing biopics, whenever we're doing things about people, I usually would assume they should have prominent status. I mean, I don't really listen to 21 Savage like that, but like, is he even a top 15 rapper, a top 20 rapper, top 30? Like, where's he at? I don't know. I mean, we couldn't get like a Jay-Z movie first. I'm just saying, because at least Jay-Z's like old enough. Now, personally, I'd rather have biopics when people are either extremely old and maybe we could still get their feedback, or when they're long gone. 21 Savage ain't lived a quarter of his life yet. But apparently this is a real thing. Like, I saw Lionsgate. They put their name on this. But here's what, I guess, some of the background. It says American Dream, that's the name of the movie, the 21 Savage story, a memoir of his incarceration by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, beginning in 2019. As part of the then President Trump's crackdown on undocumented citizens, Savage, who was raised in Atlanta but was also born in the UK, was arrested by ICE in 2019, held for several weeks, and threatened with deportation. But the Free 21 Savage campaign ultimately led to his release and ability to remain in the country. Here is the cover. So we got Stranger Things, Caleb McLaughlin here, Donald Glover. They're both going to play 21 Savage. That's the younger one. He's going to play the more current, older one. That is 21 right there. It says here, and this is just a quick description of the trailer. A young Savage, played by McLaughlin, is seen getting bullied at school before turning to rap music and getting tattooed. Donald Glover then takes over the role and hits the studio with rapper-producer Metro Boomin, who's played by Jabari Banks, a.k.a. the new Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, I'm still wondering if this is something they're going to put in theaters. Because this feels like if BET and Tubi made a collaboration and Lifetime was a producer. That's what this feels like. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be... I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna watch this. I don't think I don't see it. I don't know. What do y'all think? Are y'all interested in this? I had no idea that his deportation situation was. I'm sure it was a big deal for him. I didn't think it was a cultural event that we needed to memorialize in a movie. I mean, are we gonna make a movie about Lil Wayne and every time he got arrested or whatever? Like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? At this point, I'd rather see a movie of a young Cat Williams stealing radios and reading 3,000 books a day and running a 4-4, in no time flat. Like, I'd rather see that movie at this point. I don't know. Y'all let me know. What do you think? Are you interested? Are you a fan of 21 Savage? Whatever you think, please let me know in the comments down below. Stamina, that's your boy, man. That's y'all UK boy. So I was looking for you to see how you feel, and maybe if you could let me know if you know, like, how are the peeps in the UK feel? Is this something that the UK folks have to see? Do they want to see it? Let me know. I'm gonna deem you I'm gonna dub you the official UK representative. Okay, so you let me know, what do the people out there across the pond, what do they want to see? Do they want to see this? I'm just very curious. Let's see. Lamar Donald is a weird dude, super talented, but weird. 21 is probably his homie, and Glover made it happen. Supposed to be dropping a Gambino album. I think all of that is true. By the way, I'm looking forward to that Gambino album. That last one, I really, really like that. I like that a lot. But yeah, oh man, that Redbone and This Is America, very, very good. But anyway, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And Donald is weird. Like, he's definitely weird in a good way, like, he's not your typical type of actor slash director. He's incredibly talented. I mean, if you watch what he did with Atlanta, he gives you unconventional stuff. And I always give him props for originality. And on no one's bingo card that I ever have Donald Glover playing 21 Savage, like, in a serious movie. If you meant like as a gag, sure. But for real, never would have thought that. Never. But thank you so much. Let's see. This is a music video. It's on YouTube. Yeah. So I'm still, it is a music video, but it acts like a trailer. I'm just wondering if it's still gonna be something like in theaters or not. Or if it's only a music video. If it's only a music video, I think that is brilliant. Like, great marketing, good stuff, because it's getting attention from movie outlets. Like, I don't stay in the hip hop world. That's not my lane. But the fact that this thing is showing up under Lionsgate, this movie studio, like, apparently they're backing this, and it's showing up on movie websites and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like, y'all serious? All right. But listen, the song is actually pretty good. The song is good. I give it props there. The song is decent. Who else we got? Didier, what you got? If grandma don't know who you are, then you don't need a biopic. I'm okay with this. I'm very, very okay with this. Like, yeah, I like that. I like that standard. I like that standard for sure. Anthony, Tubi has standards. That's why Cedric the Entertainer's specials aren't on there. Yikes. I don't know how Ced had to catch a stray today, but he just got. Thank you so much, Anthony. Appreciate you. JN, DG and 21 are both from East Atlanta. This might be good. It might be. It might be. I would not be surprised if it's actually good. Again, I'm just questioning why it exists. Like, every story don't need to be told. You gonna make a Kodak Black story after this? For what? Like, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I think even Soldier Boy said that he wanted a movie to happen or something. Whatever. Anyway, let's go back to Star Wars. We got a Mandalorian update. We did hear a while ago that one big thing that was changing up in Star Wars was that we were going to get all these things happening in the Mandoverse, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, season 4 of the Mandalorian. Season 2 of Ahsoka has already been confirmed as well. So all these things were supposedly going to culminate into some big event, at the end of the, I don't know, however long it was going to take, but it was going to be like this big end game type of thing, but on television. However, news dropped that they said, forget all of that. I mean, maybe forget it. Who knows? But we getting a Mandalorian movie, and Jon Favreau is going to be directing. Woo! Let's go. It says Grogu is heading to the big screen, The Mandalorian and Grogu, a new film to be directed by the Mandalorian creator, Jon Favreau. It says Dave Filoni will produce, and this will be the first Star Wars movie to go into production since the 2019 Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. First of all, let me tell you, I like this. I like this a lot. And it also goes on to say Lucasfilm did not specify a date for the movie, though there's some untitled Star Wars features set for December 2025. I think they could totally do that. But here's the thing. I don't trust y'all. I don't trust Lucasfilm. How many movies have we gone through that they said we gonna do this, y'all? We gonna do that. And it don't never happen. How many directors, how many producers, how many writers have we gone through? You get a movie, you get a movie, you get a movie, you get a movie. Psych, 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 psych. Every single one since 2019. I'm not going to believe none of this until I see a trailer and tickets go on sale. I'm not believing none of it. I like the sound of it, but I'm tired of being sent off. I'm tired. We go through this almost every other 5-6 months. Star Wars coming out with a new this, new that. Sorry, never happens. Star Wars is starting to come off like that absentee father that went out for a pack of cigarettes and ain't never come home. Because I'm like, yo, where you been? Where you been? It took you 3 years to go get some milk? Another 4 years to go get some bread? Where you at? But this does say, what about season 4 of The Mandalorian? Because it was previously reported that Jon Favreau had already wrote the script. He already wrote season 4. And it says here, according to Deadline, the 4th season of this hit series is also in development. So not only, if this even happens, we're going to get the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and supposedly we will also be getting this season 4 of Mandalorian. Okay, great. Sounds good. Now, there's a little behind the scenes story of like what happened, because this is starting to be a little confusing. Are y'all going to do the movie? Are y'all going to do the series? Are y'all doing them both at the same time? Does one replace the other? Is one going to get canceled? Who knows? But we do have one other report, and this comes from the Hollywood Reporter, that tries to clear up a little bit of that confusion. Things to say, a couple of interesting things. It says here, all right, so what happens to season 4 of the show? All good questions, and here's what we know. Pre the actor and writer strikes, Lucasfilm was intent on making season 4 of Mandalorian. The scripts had all been written. During the great Hollywood break, however, things got reevaluated, with plans shifting to the movie as the priority. What happens to season 4 is now unclear. It's definitely not a given. If the movie is a success, it could lead to the next phase of Mando storytelling becoming movie sequels. Box office and fan reaction would determine that. Now, it does say that sources say that Filoni's own movie is still on track at this point, although it is due to come after season 2 of Ahsoka, whenever that is. And it says Favreau is not only directing the feature, but according to sources, is also writing the script with Filoni. I have been on record saying this for the longest time. Two of the best people on this planet to make Star Wars great again is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, who I have deemed the money team. And you mean to tell me, if this even happens, you about to have both sides of the money team on this same project? They both writing this, and you got the director of Elf and Iron Man, the first Iron Man. You about to have them both cooking on this movie together? If this even happens, this could be gold. This could be gold. But I don't know, because I got trust issues. We've been lied to many a times. You know, like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna be fantastic or a fat Faison lie. I don't know. But either way, I'm gonna keep an eye out for it. I'm gonna look for it. Not gonna get my hopes up. I told you I need a trailer, I need a movie poster, I need a script, I need some movie tickets on sale. I need some proof that y'all gonna follow through. But y'all let me know. How do you feel about this news about the Mandalorian movie, alleged movie? Are you excited for this? Does it give you hope that if this happens, that the money team is on board? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. JN, 21 Savage story is akin to 50 Cent. He was shot 6 times and survived. He was? Wow. Add in being an immigrant, it'll be better than Tupac and Biggie's biopics. That is not saying a lot. That is not saying a lot at all. That Tupac thing was a joke. That was a joke. The Biggie one wasn't bad. There was one little scene I liked in there. Lil Kim came in. That was a nice scene. That was some good acting. Good acting. But yeah, we'll see. I think Donald is a good director, and I think he's a very creative person. So, and anything Atlanta related is definitely close to his heart. So I think he will do a decent job. But anyway, let's move on because we've got Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is out here making money moves. Tom Cruise, the guy who has has been proclaimed to be the savior of Hollywood. He is probably of the last dying breed of the superstar, the movie star that's out there. Because I've told y'all this for a long time. Movie stars are fading away. People are fine when a movie star is in a film, but that's no longer enough to make a movie successful. We've already seen this with one of the biggest movie stars in Hollywood today, with The Rock, and that couldn't even save Black Adam, even though it was #1 on iTunes. But movie stars are fading now. Even with that said, you still had Tom Cruise come out with Top Gun and blow people away. When people didn't even want to go to theaters, this man put out Top Gun, and that sucker made a whole $1 billion, and everything was like out the window. Forget all the superhero movies that made money. They looked at that Tom Cruise movie and was like, oh, so we back. You know, Steven Spielberg, Scorsese, everybody over here giving this man a round of applause, pat on the back, all of that. And you know what? And I'll say this, like, I wasn't a big fan of the first Top Gun. I had not seen it until the second one came out, and I went back and watched the first one in completion. And I was like, okay, I get it, but like, I didn't really like it. But the second Top Gun, oh, I love that movie. That movie was really well done. That was really, really fun. That was a great popcorn movie. That was a movie you had to go see in theaters. Solid film. Very good. So, of course, ain't no way you can make a movie in Hollywood and make $1 billion and not get a sequel at all. So, of course, Top Gun 3 is currently in the works at Paramount right now. It says here Paramount has Top Gun Maverick co-writer Aaron Kruger to work on a script for a sequel to the action blockbuster, according to knowledgeable insider. There's still a few hurdles to cross with Tom Cruise and company needing to sign off on a final version. Now, this all comes on the heels of even bigger news, and this is bigger news for Tom Cruise, because according to reports, Tom Cruise is in the money. This man is making deals. Okay. When I tell you this man wants to save Hollywood, he is on a mission, and it's not impossible, but this man right now has signed a nice looking deal with Warner Brothers to develop and produce original and franchise films. It says here the ageless actor signed a new deal to develop and produce theatrical films with Warner Brothers Discovery. These movies will be a mix of original productions and franchise fare and will star Cruise. It says Cruise and his production company will have offices on the Warner Brothers Discovery lot in Burbank. And I want to take a moment here just to remind you guys, whenever you think of those type of things, oh, I'm sorry. No, that's the wrong studio. Never mind. I was about to bring up something, but I forgot. That's the wrong studio. But you know it's serious. You know it's serious when y'all make a deal to be in a partnership and my man got to move in. He got to get an office. I don't even remember hearing of other producers, directors having a whole office. This man said we moving in together. We about to shack up. Okay, they Tom Cruise and WB is out here shacking up right now, and that's how you know it's real. Okay, that's how you know it's real out there. And it says here the deal with Cruise, who has projects at rival studios like Universal and Paramount, is not exclusive, nor is it traditional first look pack. The actor can make movies at other companies, but the hope is that he will be able to generate the kind of globally appealing blockbusters that could spawn sequels and enhance Warner Brothers' bottom line. So not only are they shacking up, but they just friends with benefits. Who knew Tom Cruise was going to make WB his sneaky link? Who knew? Because this man said, hold on, baby girl, hold on. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and live with you for a little bit. We're going to make some deals, but I still got to go do my thing elsewhere. You saw that the Top Gun? He's still doing that somewhere else. He ain't bringing Top Gun to Warner Brothers. He's still going to live his life. Okay. He's living his life unchained. Okay. Hey man, different relationships, different strokes for different folks, clearly like that's, and Warner Brothers is okay with this. They are okay with this. Let's keep this in mind. Y'all remember back when The Flash, you remember when Ezra Miller was out here terrorizing like just different continents and states and stuff, running away from the police and all that? Do y'all remember when The Flash came out? Before it came out, who did Warner Brothers send the Flash movie to exclusively? Y'all remember when they sent them they sent that movie straight to Tom Cruise? They sent that movie special delivery, literally special, hand delivered, handcuffs to the screen and everything. They said, here you go, sir. Gave this man a special private screening of The Flash because they wanted his input on it. They've been wooing Tom Cruise for a long time. So now we actually have a little bit more inside information as to what this deal between Warner Brothers and Tom Cruise, what it really means. And let's just kind of get into the little nitty gritty. Now, I did not know all of this, so I thought this was kind of interesting. It says Cruise is a true veteran when it comes to dealing with Hollywood executives. And he and Zaslav, the president, the head of WB, instantly clicked on the importance of keeping movies and theaters alive. Now, this, just to give you guys some context, recall David Zaslav has been on the crusade of trying to save movies in theaters for a long time. Now, it's a little contradictory because this is the same guy that was kind of being a roadblock for the whole writers and actors strike, but whatever. But he has been on record saying that he wants to make the focus of WB on theatrical movies. And I told y'all this before. I told y'all this when the pandemic was happening, when people were crying that the sky was falling and movie theaters were dead. I told y'all there's too much money to be made in theaters. Y'all ain't no business in their right mind going to stop using movie theaters. And you too, I don't care, even if you the biggest hypochondriac out there, you too will not give up on movies. All it takes is that one movie, that one special date night or whatever, you gonna find yourself out there. Okay. And people have been coming back. So oh, by the way, this is also one of the reasons why they canceled the Batgirl movie, because according to Zaslav, he's like, yo, this ain't gonna make us enough money in theaters, so we got to scrap it, write it off, as a tax write off. So of course, somebody with that mentality paired up with Tom Cruise, who has been a huge advocate for releasing big budget blockbuster movies in theaters. This was a match made in heaven, right? So it says here that there's a little bit more drama. So let's kind of get into the drama. It says sources say Cruise was not happy with the way Paramount dealt with him on a number of issues. He had to lawyer up in 2021 when the studio announced that Top Gun Maverick would have a 45-day release theatrical run. The studio also pressed Cruise to approve the making of a television show based on Mission Impossible or Days of Thunder for its streamer. Now don't forget, I've told y'all this has been one of the biggest reasons why a lot of movies have not succeeded or had the same traction that they used to have in the past, and that's that 45-day window. When you only have 2.5 weeks, you only have 2.5 paycheck periods to go watch a movie, that's not a lot of incentive to go watch that film. It really isn't, because if you haven't had a chance to watch a movie in 2 weeks, you might be like, wait a minute, it comes out in 4 weeks on streaming that I'm already paying for. I'll wait. So why would you go pay for it then at that point? But back in the day, you used to have 3 months to go see a movie in the theaters. And that's what Tom Cruise pushed them for and was like, no, don't do this stupid 45-day release window nonsense. Leave my movie in the theaters for 90 days. People will show up. And he was right. And they made $1 billion. So he almost had to sue them for that. But listen, they had their drama. Now, I haven't heard about that whole television streaming show thing, but it sounds whack already. Because I'm just saying, if you're not going to have Tom Cruise in a television series to stream, what are you doing? Are people even going to tune in? I don't think so. And is Paramount popping like that? I'm saying this honestly because I don't know, but the only thing I be hearing about Paramount is Star Trek. I don't really be hearing a lot of people saying, have you seen that new Paramount show? Maybe they got a couple hits here and there. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think that they're making any of the big companies, the big streamers. I don't see them making Netflix or Disney Plus. I don't see them making them sweat. I don't see them coming out with shows that's making these other bigger platforms turn around and look over their shoulder. Evil's a great show, but Evil is not something that I hear a lot of people talking about. I like Evil a lot. I think the show is fantastic, but it's not something that I see getting a lot of traction, but I don't know. But apparently there's a little bit more with the drama. Let's see. Paramount had some issues with Cruise too. Said here that he and his director, Christopher McQuarrie, have had a tendency to change their minds on the fly while filming, which tends to bust the budget. Says here that the whole Mission Impossible movie, the movie lost almost $25 million. Says here that Tom Cruise, he doesn't send script pages. He doesn't let them see dailies. He used to be very responsible on budgets, but that changed with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Well, let me tell you something. When you quote unquote have saved Hollywood and you've made $1 billion, who gonna check you, boo? I mean, y'all remember what happened with James Cameron? The studios tried to tell James Cameron, hey man, with them Avatar movies, you're gonna have to shorten that stuff down. James Cameron said, come here, who are you talking to? Who are you talking? Do you not know I paid for your office over there? Do you not know I own this whole lot over here on Fox Studio? Who are you talking to? If I want my movie to be 15 hours, it's going to be 15 hours. If I want to shoot my movie on the moon, we going to the moon. Why? Because my movies just make only billions of dollars. That's all my movies do. Who you talking to? So Tom Cruise, whether this is true or not, my man has earned his respect. He's probably feeling himself. And it's very hard to argue against that. Now, I get it. As a studio, you like, man, you got to let us, brother, know. You got to let us know about these budgets, man. You can't just be dropping out. He like, yo, shut up. Do you want $1 billion or not? Do you know what? I'm Tom freaking Cruise. Well, but now look at you. Now look at you. Now, because you tried to reel Tom Cruise in, WB out here luring them back. And it says here that DeLuca and Abdi, who work at WB, hope to lure Cruise back for a follow-up to the 2014 film Edge of Tomorrow, which the studio already had in development before they took over. So it looks like with this potential deal with Tom Cruise and WB, we might get Edge of Tomorrow sequel, and I'm here for that because I like that Edge of Tomorrow. I thought that was a solid film. I really, really enjoyed that. So if that's what that means, all power to him. Listen, I'm here for this deal. You know what I'm saying? They shacking up. They friends with benefits. They doing their little dirty stuff behind doors. Whatever. I'm not judging nobody's relationship. If that's what y'all agree to, that's what y'all do. Okay. So y'all tell me, do y'all like this deal with Tom Cruise and WB? Are you excited for what potentially can come about with that? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. Let's see. Anthony, Top Gun 3 will come out before Blade. Don't say that. Don't say, come on, man. I'm trying to keep hope alive with Blade. I'm trying. Oh, you could be right, but I'm trying. All right. What do we have next? Okay. You know what? We could do this next. So a lot of y'all were asking me, like, yo, what's up with Echo? Have you seen it? Have you had time to see it? Here's the crazy thing. I had screeners for Echo for a while, and I just did not feel motivated to watch it. I just didn't. I'm being very transparent with y'all. I had it. I had access to it. I could have watched it, and I just did not have the motivation to watch. But, I started seeing people were asking, people like, yo, but email, what do you think? And I was like, you know what? What I'm not going to do is neglect my critic duty of at least sharing my thoughts on these things with you guys. So I do want to kind of give, and I know because everyone hasn't seen it yet, I will do my best to keep this relatively spoiler free, but we are going to talk about Echo. And in case you did not know, so Echo is basically the story of this young woman, Maya Lopez, who was pretty much adopted by the Kingpin, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. And she grew up in a life of crime, a lot of violence. And based off of what we learned in the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus, we find out that, Kingpin was the one responsible for the death of Maya's father. And when she confronted him, when that truth was revealed to her, she shot him in the face. Now, of course, they made it look like she killed him. You ain't finna kill Kingpin like that. So he survived, and now he's back. But Maya's on this quest of self-discovery, and I guess she wants to be the new queen pin or whatever. And that's what this whole series is all about. Now, when it comes to the good stuff with this, I definitely liked the fact that this was only 5 episodes. I thought that was a great thing. 5 episodes was perfect. I thought that it was also very smart on Marvel's part to put them all out at once. This y'all could have lost me if it was episode once a week. You could have lost me. I might have stopped at episode 1 or 2, but the fact that all the episodes were there all at once and they weren't very long, I think that worked more to its advantage. Now, don't get me wrong. I know some people wanted a little bit more, and I would agree that the way this ended, I would not have been mad if the episodes were a little longer, or if you were to give me a season 2. Because I do think that there's more to her story than what we got in this first season. But I do like the fact that we at least got that. Now, one thing that this series definitely has going in its favor is the action. Listen, Tink Tink, whatever you want to call it, listen, she will mess you up with that prosthetic leg real bad. Shout out to the coordinators. I thought that the action and the stunts were decent to pretty good. I did enjoy them for the most part. I had a good time with it. This was in the trailers as well, so it's not much of a spoiler. And of course, if you've known the comics, Maya's story has a lot of crossovers, not only with Kingpin, but also with Daredevil. My thoughts on the involvement of Daredevil was just the fact that I thought well, I won't go into that yet, but I will say that the good part was I like that fight scene. I like the fight scene with Daredevil. Listen, that kick that she did on that man, where she wound up that kick, I was like, yo, give me more of that. So I did like the action. I like that scene. I wish they would have given us a little bit more with that overall, because it's not as exciting to see someone as talented as Maya go up against a whole bunch of street thugs, and that's it. I mean, even Daredevil, right? We got teased with Daredevil, was spoiled. Even Daredevil, at some point, even he upgraded to better villains. Him and Bullseye, I like that. I thought that was cool. So anyway, so that was okay. The action was cool. Didn't have a problem with that. And of course, one thing that this show really banks on is Maya's family and her heritage, right? Like everything about the family and the heritage is so critical to her story, to her background, even her little, cousin or whatever. And I thought that, what they did, I think it was called the Choctaw Nation or tribe. Forgive me if I mispronounced that. You can tell that Marvel really went the distance in making sure they tried to make the Native American or indigenous people's culture as authentic as possible. And again, I'm not an expert at any of it, but I can, at least from an outsider's perspective, I got the feeling that they got most of it right. I also appreciated the fact that because Maya is deaf and because she communicates with, sign language, you had a lot of moments in here where you didn't hear stuff. And I thought that that was a really good way to put us in the perspective of the main character, help us, the audience, connect with her by putting us in her shoes by not hearing things. I thought that was really good. And like there was a lot of sign language in here, which I will say for the most part is a good thing because it's authentic to the character. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit annoyed with the fact that while I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, I'm watching this. Man, maybe let me eat a little food. Wait, how come ain't nobody say nothing? I done missed the whole conversation. I missed the whole conversation because I went to the bathroom. I'm so used to listening to certain things that I just missed the whole scene and all this information because they're signing and I'm not hearing anything. So I got to go back, rewind, whatever. So there's that. What else was there? I think Oh, I like the acting. The acting was cool. Alequa Cox, I thought she was great. Listen, that little girl, I think that's actually Cox's little cousin. That little girl with her fat little cheek. Boy, I was like, look at that fat face little kid. She's so cute. She's so adorable. You just want to pinch them fat cheeks. Oh my gosh, she was fun. But I liked the acting overall. I thought the acting was pretty good. Vincent D'Onofrio, of course. I mean, this dude as Kingpin can act in his sleep. This dude is always massively talented. And I absolutely love every moment that he's in here. Probably could have done a little bit more with him. I think that would have helped. But either way, I thought that was cool. Now, on to the bad. Man, the pacing. The pacing was not the best. Like I said, there were some times when I tuned out. There were some times where I was like, okay, where are we going with this? As much as I did enjoy the authentic indigenous people cultural stuff, there were some things that didn't work for me. Like this whole thing with the cousin, man, I swear they made this whole relationship with the cousin feel as though like they were ex-lovers or something, and obviously that is not what the case was, but it was just the whole thing of like, you didn't talk to me, I haven't seen you in a long time. And I was just like, what? Come on, now listen. I know we all got some cousins out there that maybe we haven't talked to and hooked up, but I don't know about y'all. I'm just saying, if I see my cousins, I'm like, yo, it's almost like we're gonna pick up like we ain't never left off. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's love like for I don't care how long it's been, right? Anyway, maybe that's just me, but I feel like they just kind of milked the whole family thing a little bit too much in some areas. It could have been a little bit better. The whole thing with Kingpin, it was cool for the most part. But I think one of my issues was the fact that like I didn't know or feel the stakes in this whole show. Like there are certain, I mean, what are we really talking about here? My grandma mad at me. I'm watching this for your grandma and your cousin. I guess maybe whatever. Again, the Kingpin stuff was cool. That's where I thought maybe the stakes could have been a little better, but even that kind of had a little push and pull with it. Like it just didn't always hit for me. It didn't always hit. And then I have mixed emotions about the unique twist that they did with Maya. How can I say this? Because I don't want to spoil it. But we reported this because it was in the news before. They give Maya new abilities. And let me just talk about the abilities lightly. I love how they have tied the abilities to make it essential and central for Maya's background and her cultural beliefs. I thought that was brilliant. And this isn't an indictment against the show. This is just my personal opinion. I do still feel some type of way about what they gave to Maya, mainly because that was something for me as a comic reader that was always unique to Black Panther and especially T'Challa. And now I'm sitting here thinking, like, man, if y'all did this with Maya, does that mean T'Challa, Black Panther can't do that either? Because I don't want nobody sitting there saying that they copying. So again, I'm not going to spoil it. If you know, then you know. But I felt some kind of way about that. And I'll just say, the way that they ended this series, I wasn't really feeling it. Not going to say how they ended it, but the decision that they did at the end, it was giving me some Captain Planet vibes. Okay? It was giving me some Captain Planet vibes where I use a certain ring on you. This is not what happened, but if you've seen it, you know what I'm referring to. And I just didn't really feel the way they ended it was, it felt a little anticlimactic for me. So, you know, when it comes to Echo, I think that Marvel's heart was in the right place. I feel like the intentions were solid. The representation is undeniable and impeccable. I am very, very, very happy for anyone that this movie, this series resonated with, and people that felt seen by this, whether you're indigenous, whether you are of the deaf community, like you know, whatever. Like if this did something for you, I am happy for you. I love that y'all got something. This just did not move me entirely. At the same time, I wouldn't say that this is a bad series at all. I would just say that it just existed. You know, it was just there. Now in the comics, Maya is known for adopting a certain persona. She takes on the mantle of a different fighter, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for if we get a season 2. Again, I'm not gonna spoil it here, but like if they go that route in season 2, you got my attention. But yeah, I think that when it comes to a rating, I think I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. If I'm just being honest, I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's not bad. It's just not something that it's not something I can see myself coming back to watch. And I felt like they could have been better. I think that there were areas that they really could have elevated it more. So I think that this is a decent start. I think that they could do more with her character in the future. But yeah, this wasn't the strongest debut, in my opinion. But I don't know. Y'all let me know. Have you seen Echo? If you have seen it, what rating did you give it on a scale from 0 to 10? And yeah, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments down below. All right. All right, that was my thoughts on Echo. Okay, Darian, now we can get here. Hi, I've been a supporter since the Recast BP movement. Thank you so much. Why did Marvel pump fake us like this with Echo? I had high hopes. Now I fear Daredevil Reborn will be a failure. So I don't think this was a pump fake at all. Keep in mind, and I've told you guys this too, that anything that was made or produced during the pandemic time is something that will be suspect. And Echo is no different. Echo has been in development for a while. So anything that was made during that time frame, even the producer, Brad Winderbaum, he came out and doubled down on a report that we previously got, which was was Marvel Studios was a movie making company. Marvel Entertainment, they were the ones that was doing the Netflix shows, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They did TV. So they came at it with the TV making formula and approach. Marvel Studios is new to that. So that's why you had a lot of the early series like Loki and all these other things either being stuff that would only set up the movies, but not really flesh out the shows. So I would not be very concerned about Daredevil yet, only because one, and I've got videos on this, they hired the Daredevil, the Punisher, the people that did Punisher, they hired them to come and redo Daredevil Reborn Born Again. Because when they finally slowed down, because that was the big problem with Marvel, they were doing too much too fast. When they slowed down, they said, yo, we got to go back to making TV the way that everyone else makes TV. You know, we got to have a dedicated showrunner. We have to have that one person that really understands these characters. We have to go back to making sure that everything doesn't have to connect to every movie. But if you develop the characters and maybe put a little connectivity, maybe a little bit, it'll be fine. And we saw little changes like that with Loki. Loki was not concerned about what was happening in all the MCU stuff. Loki was concerned about Loki. And that's why we tune into these shows. So again, this is why I don't have, lost hope, at least with Echo, because I'm like, season 2 could be better if y'all just focus on her and y'all keep the stakes, make them a little bigger or whatever. Like, there's hope for her character moving forward. But yeah, this is all byproduct stuff from the pandemic. Don't expect great quality. And Marvel knows that, but they've already changed course. They've already changed up their formula, but we're not going to see that difference for a while. So, it is what it is. But thank you so much for your comment. Anthony, Cruz and McQuarrie writing Mission Impossible as they go along is 100% true. They both say it on every director commentary from Rogue Nation to Dead Reckoning. Yeah, and that happens. That happens. The problem is that it just keeps on costing the studio more money. This is nothing new, right? Like, studio, man, people do this stuff all the time, but you got a budget and the studio got a budget. They have people that they are obligated to as well. So, it's more of a business thing. But yeah, that's not uncommon that, people will change things on the fly. That's not uncommon at all. Let's see. Lamar, Echo is a solid 7. I think they were scared to go all the way in. So this is kind of a taste. Remember when Echo was announced, we were like, yes. I remember, because I was like, red flag. Y'all dropping all these episodes at once? Red flag. Not to say that it wasn't a good idea to drop it all at once. It clearly was the better choice. I'm just saying that we suspected that there were going to be some quality issues. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Thank you so much for that. Okay. I think it's time. Oh no. We got the RDJ interviews. Yes. So recently Robert Downey Jr. has he's on the awards campaign trail right now. So he is doing his interviews for Oppenheimer and stuff like that. And recently he got on who is this? Robert Lowe. Is it? Jesus, I forget the dude's name. Rob Lowe's. Yeah, Rob Lowe's podcast, and they had some conversations about a couple things. It was a pretty good interview. But there were 2 things that he talked about that I thought were pretty interesting. And one of those things that he talked about was Marvel related stuff, right? Like it's kind of hard to talk about Robert Downey Jr. and not talk about Iron Man. I mean, he was doing that for like 10, 11 years, and it was something that jump started this man's career after he was on rock bottom, hitting rock bottom, coming out of jail, having all these issues and stuff. And this was a definite rebound for this man, for him. So anyway, during the interview, he talked about his time as Iron Man, and he said here, now while this interview was happening, so let me do that first. While this interview was happening, his phone goes off. His phone goes off, and I'm gonna tell you, like, let's kind of go through what happens here. So Rob Lowe, as his phone goes off, Downey's phone, Rob Lowe says, "Is that some Marvel stuff? Are you going to break some stories here?" And Downey said, "Not just yet." Now, wait a minute, sir. Now, wait a minute. Now, one of the biggest, hottest rumors for a long time has been, is Robert Downey Jr. going to come back as Iron Man? We have the perfect setup to do this, and that would be in Avengers Secret Wars. That's where you have the multiverse, and you could have all different types of, you could have 15 different Robert Downeys if you want. And we also heard the report that Kevin Feige was like, "Nah, we're not gonna, erase this. We're not gonna erase what he did in Endgame in any way, shape, or form." Now, personally, I still call cap, because I'm like, if it's multiverse, it does not erase what the 616 did. If you bring in the 834 Tony Stark, that's not erasing. We still remember. Like, audiences are sophisticated enough to know our 616 Tony Stark died saving the universe. That's not going to go away. That's not undone when you bring, first of all, you spent like 2-3 years telling us that there's a whole multiverse and all these other versions. Like, we can get that. But anyway, so the fact that my man said not yet, I'm not saying that was a full thing. I'm just saying, like, anything is possible. We also didn't think Hugh Jackman was going to come back either. But look at him. Okay. So anyway, he says, Rob Lowe says here that he was going to answer the phone for him if it was Marvel. He says, "I know what your deal is. Here's what you do. You go, Marvel, I'll come back and I'll play Tony Stark for you guys again, since you messed everything up. But I want a gazillion dollars. I know what that number should be, and I want first dollar gross of every ensuing movie. That's what I would do." And Robert Downey was like, "Yeah, man, that sounds kind of hostile." Now here's the thing, in case y'all forgot, Robert Downey is paid. This man got Tony Stark money for real when it comes to Avengers films. In case you did not know, Robert Downey was paid only a couple $100,000 for the first Iron Man movie. But everything after that, this man put it in his contract. I want a piece of all those Avengers movies. Anything with Avengers in it and anything after, I need a piece of the box office. And Avengers made $1 billion. Avengers Age of Ultron made $1.5 billion. And when those movies was doing well and Robert Downey was becoming the face of Marvel for a long time, they had to pay that man when Iron Man came out for them individual Iron Man movies. He was making a good couple tens of millions of dollars per movie. And then when Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, this man walked away after all them movies. I think it was like, what, 375, $400 million that he made just off of that. I think he made like $10 million for like 5 minutes showing up in Spider-Man Homecoming. He's fine. This man is fine. Okay. Financially, he's good. But yes, Rob Lowe is not wrong. If he even shows an eyelash in Avengers Secret Wars, they got to pay that man. That man has got to be paid. Okay. They have to. So, but he did say something else, because y'all remember after he played Iron Man, he went off to do other movies, right? He went off to do things like Doolittle, which I don't I don't think y'all saw that movie. I didn't. And it got critically panned. It did not make it flopped in the box office. It did not do very well. In other words, a lot of the things that Downey was doing outside of the MCU did not go over very well. Now, he was fantastic in Oppenheimer. He was great. He should win an award for what he did in Oppenheimer. But Doolittle was not it. But he said this, though. He said, after Doolittle, I felt so exposed after being in the cocoon of Marvel, where I think I did some of the best work I will ever do. But it went a little bit unnoticed because of the genre. I did myself a favor because the rug was pulled so definitively out from underneath me and all the things that I was leaning on, as opposed to what my understanding of confidence and security was. Boy, did they evaporate, and it rendered me teachable. I love that. Like the same way I told y'all, I love when actors are able to recognize when their stuff is trash. I love even more that he found a humbling experience in this and was like, you know what? I can be better. And he was better. And I also agree, and it's sad that he did do some of his best work in Marvel. Whether you like the movie or not, Iron Man 3, Downey was doing some really good acting. Like he was really, really good as a performer in Iron Man 3, So like, and yeah, there is that genre discrimination. Like nobody was, people was hating on comic book superhero movies, so nobody wanted to pay attention to awarding that type of stuff. But I mean, I think we noticed. I noticed. I'm like, yeah, Robert Downey. Yeah, if I looked at your body of work, you as Iron Man, that was it. That was it. But in this same interview, he also goes on to talk about his famous role in Tropic Thunder. Now, if you have not seen Tropic Thunder, I don't know what to tell you, because Tropic Thunder was probably one of the funniest movies during that time frame. And Downey's role in Tropic Thunder is easily one of the best performances in all comedy history. Like, it has to go down all time. Has to. Not saying it's the best. I'm saying if we're making a list, it better be on that list. But of course, there has been all this new controversy. There was no controversy at the time, but there's been new controversy about people, who are woke, and they're just now seeing Tropic Thunder. And of course, there's all this retro pushback of like, oh my gosh, he was in blackface. That's so racist. Oh my gosh, Robert Downey, we got to cancel him. Cancel. So he actually addressed this and talked about his perspective with all this supposed backlash. And it says here, the Iron Man star in Tropic Thunder, he starred as an egotistical Australian thespian who takes method acting to an extreme by undergoing pigmentation alteration surgery to darken his skin in order to play a black soldier in a war movie. Now, he said, I was looking back at All in the Family, the TV series, and they had a little disclaimer that they were running at the beginning of the show. Now, for those of you that don't know, All in the Family was an old school show back in 60s, maybe 70s. And they used to deal with a lot. Shout out to Norman Lear. They used to deal with a lot of controversial issues. They used to deal with race, gender, politics. They used to go in very, very controversial territory. But they still managed to do it from a comedic standpoint. So just so you know. Now it says here the program, the disclaimer was that the program you're about to see is All in the Family. It seeks to throw a humor spotlight on our frailties, prejudices, and concerns by making them a source of laughter. We hope to show, in a mature fashion, just how absurd they are. So, Downey goes on to say the language was saying, hey, this is the reason that we're doing these things that in a vacuum, you could pick apart and say they are wrong and bad. They are used to be an understanding with an audience. And I'm not saying that the audience is no longer understanding. I'm saying things have gotten very muddied. The spirit that Ben Stiller directed and cast and shot Tropic Thunder is in was essentially as railing against all these tropes that are not right, and that had been perpetuated for too long. He goes on to say here, Ben Stiller knew exactly what the vision was for this. He executed it. It was impossible to not have it be an offensive nightmare of a movie. And 90% of my black friends were like, dude, that was great. I can't disagree with the other 10%, but I know where my heart lies. In my defense, Tropic Thunder is about how wrong blackface is, so I take exception. Robert Downey Jr. and his portrayal of blackface in Tropic Thunder is absolutely acceptable. And what comes to mind is, yes, as he said, if you look at it in a vacuum, like all you see is him dressed up in blackface, that would be wrong. But that's not what's happening here. What does happen here is that he's actually doing satire to show how wrong it really is. And he's poking fun at the people that are not aware of how wrong it really is. It reminds me, it's not the same, but it reminds me of the controversy with Pepe Le Pew, right? Pepe Le Pew from Looney Tunes, you remember he used to be out there chasing the black cat with the stripe on him. And Pepe Le Pew was a sexual assaulter. Okay. He harassed and he assaulted constantly. And being kids, I mean, we didn't know any better. We laughed at it. We was like, ha ha ha, that stinky skunk. He's at it again. Pepe Le Pew did not know the meaning of no. Pepe Le Pew did not know the meaning of consent. Now, that was problematic because there were never any actual consequences to let us know that his behavior was actually not okay. Now, let's kind of bring it back to, let's say, Johnny Bravo. Y'all remember? Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo was just like Pepe Le Pew. Johnny Bravo would chase after a lot of these all these girls or whatever and chase them, harass them, and all this stuff. But guess what? Johnny Bravo always got smacked, got rejected, got declined, and it let us know, even though Johnny is this hornball, there are consequences because his behavior was not acceptable. So nobody grew up thinking, I got to be like Johnny Bravo, because clearly you got the message that his actions were not okay. And this is the same thing or similar vein that happened with Robert Downey's portrayal of a white Australian actor in blackface. And let's not act as though there are not real actors in Hollywood that are not minorities that will sit here and don blackface, or they will do certain cultural things in a very insensitive way and be completely oblivious about it. Gods of Egypt. There are certain actors and executives and directors that will do certain things and whitewash cultural stuff and say, but it's just acting. What's the big deal? And that's what Robert Downey's character was making fun of. He was that actor that would be blackface and be like, what's the big deal? He was that actor that would do something culturally incredibly insensitive and act like, what's the big deal? Huh? What you mean, you people? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like this double entendre of a joke, and it landed. So listen, I know he brought up the whole black friends thing. I'd be part of that 90%. I'd be like, excuse me, Mr. Robert Downey Jr., you did nothing wrong. Ben Stiller's stuff was brilliant. If it was, in my opinion, that might be the only acceptable way or acceptable case of blackface that I've ever seen. And you know what, sir? You ain't coming to the cookout, but you're going to get a to-go plate. You're going to get yo, put that plate in the foil and somebody send it out. You ain't got to stand at the front door. You sit and wait in your car. You sit and wait in your car, and we gonna send a plate out to you, okay? Because what you did was great, and I'm glad that it was directed not to black folks. It was directed to the white folks that don't understand why blackface was bad. So yes, you did just fine, sir. Just fine. Anyway, what do y'all think about Robert Downey Jr.'s interview? What did you make about his comments about being Iron Man and the whole thing being neglected? What did you think about his comments about playing a very controversial character? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. All right. Okay, Didier, what you got? I did like how there were parallels with Kingpin from Netflix, but slight differences enough to know that they are not the same. So I'm with you on that 100%. And I just saw Marvel, because remember, Marvel added the Netflix stuff onto Disney Plus. They just added all of the Netflix shows to the official MCU timeline. Now, I don't know if that means that everything in the MCU, from Netflix is now officially canon. I don't know if that means maybe these things are coexisting because of the multiverse. I don't know. That needs to be clarified. But I will agree that yes, there are some differences, and I'm okay with it. I don't think they need to be, because if you're not going to bring the original Netflix team back, we don't have to play that game, so I'm okay with that. But thank you so much, Diddy. I appreciate you. Lamar, what you got? If you didn't get the joke of his role in Tropic Thunder, I don't know what to tell you. Agreed. Because like it clearly was a joke, and it was a joke within a joke. I mean, I got it immediately. So I like, that was never something I felt offended by before or after, just never. Let's see. JN, blackface was the start of Jim Crow. Downey may have had a great performance, but it's still horrific. Black folks don't cancel, but it's despicable. I disagree. He had a great performance, and his portrayal was not horrific. Blackface itself is horrific. And here's the thing, I don't even like blackface when it's coming from other black folks, because you still have that complicated issue of colorism. Remember Zoe Saldana when she wouldn't play Nina Simone and she had to go darken her face to play Nina Simone? It was like, ma'am, who asked you to do any of that? Why? Maybe that role was just not for you then. So yeah, I'm not gonna call it despicable when it literally makes fun of blackface, like, and why it conveys the message that it is wrong. Let's see what we got here. JN back at it. Ben Stiller should have watched Bamboozled. Why can't we ever have respect for the BS black folks have still gone through? Cretins. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying I don't know what you're like, and I'm asking this respectfully. Did you not get the joke? Like, did you not see that they're not making fun of black people? They're making fun of the non-black people that don't understand that blackface is actually the problem. So JN, I don't know where you're coming from with it. I think that it is respectful to even go out on a limb and speak to those people in a way. And I'm sorry, anytime you make fun of people that that carry stupid ideas, I'm okay with you. Like I don't have a problem with that. So I don't know, man. Maybe we're seeing things differently, but I'm not taking it like that. Let's see. Prince, I don't break character till I do the DVD commentary. Hey, I mean, sure, why not? That's definitely method acting to a different degree. That's definitely different. But thank you so much. All right, let's see. Let's move on. Yeah, let's move on to the last topic of tonight, and that is Jonathan Majors' interview. So a couple things here. So one, I'm going to talk about the interview that he did with Good Morning America. But just to kind of give people a heads up, what I'm not going to do is further complicated breakdowns and dissections of Jonathan Majors and the trial and all that stuff. Because I mean, we literally went through everything from the very beginning to the very end where the verdict happened. And at this point, what even though outside of this interview, and let me just tell you now, this is not going to be a breakdown of the entire interview. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm going to go through some tidbits. I'm going to go through a couple clips. I also don't want to get this video taken down. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that moving forward, now this was always kind of the hope, but it's going to be way more focused on Jonathan Majors, the actor. I'm not going to get into the personal stuff. The only reason we really covered it was because anything that happened in his personal life potentially affected his future in Marvel and his other films. That's why I covered it before. But now that that stuff is long gone, I'm really going to focus more so on the actor, the movie news related to it. And I'm not going to get into the minutia about, like, this is what the legal stuff happened. I'm not doing all that. So there are other fine channels out there that are doing that. All power to them. Shout out to them. But that's where I'm telling y'all, I'm like, if you're looking for that, we're not going to keep doing that. This is not like a gossip channel. This is not like that. I do cover things in the movie realm, but we're not going to keep doing that and become obsessed with it in that light. So with that said, one thing that we do know with Jonathan Majors that has been unfortunate is that, while I'm not 100% with the whole verdict, I do also understand that, like, it was always going to have a negative impact on him professionally. And one thing that we saw very early on was he was getting dropped. He was getting, you know, uh, people were parting ways with him when it came to different projects, and it just did not stop. I mean, just recently, it was also announced here that Magazine Dreams, one of his other films that was picked up by Disney or Searchlight, does not have it's probably not going to get released. They did say that, it more than likely will be given back to the filmmakers so that they can go shop that movie to somebody else. Maybe a streaming network will pick it up. Maybe somebody else will do it. But right now, Disney's like, we're good. And this also just then, this was breaking news. But unfortunately, when it rains, it pours, because Jonathan Majors is also being dropped from the Dennis Rodman movie called 48 Hours in Vegas. This is where he was going to play the legendary Chicago Bull NBA basketball player and champion, and talk about that famous 48 hours where he was in Las Vegas having a wild time during a championship run with my Chicago Bulls. But yeah, he is also now officially dropped from that. So with that said, I do have a couple clips here from the interview that we can go over. I'm going to play just a couple of them. And, we are going to just kind of like go over them real quick. Let's see. Here's one of them here. So one of these this clip right here, I thought was kind of good and relevant to talk about. Actually, let me load up a couple of these so we could just have them here. Because I do want to give a couple thoughts about things that we have talked about on here, and things that I thought were relevant. Let me label these things here. What's the other one? Let's get this other one here, and then we'll really get into this here. Okay. All right. So, first one here, I thought was important to just kind of talk about, which was because one thing that I had said was that I felt as though Jonathan Majors should probably take a break. I was like, you know what? The last thing you really need is to keep being in the headlines. But I will say that after this interview, I think I've changed my mind. And I think I changed my mind to the point where this interview, I think, probably does more help than it does harm because of what he says right here. And let's kind of listen to what he said.
Why did you decide you wanted to talk now?
I felt like it was time. A lot has happened in my personal life, in my career, in the culture, and conversely, the impact of this. It's about responsibility and coming forward and being brave and giving my part of the story.
Okay, so I do agree with him in that case, right? I do agree that for the sake of his career, for the sake of his image, and I'm gonna say this a couple times, and I think a lot of people miss this. His image and how he is perceived matters a lot. It goes one in one with his entire career. Now, I'll get into why that's more important a little later, but I do think that it's somewhat helpful for him to give his side of the story and to at least present himself in a manner that is counter to the verdict that was levied against him. Okay. So, in other words, this verdict makes him sound like this big abuser, but he, at least for the sake of his image, whether you agree with him or not, whether you agree with the verdict or not, this interview at least shows a softer side of him so that, at least image wise, it should help. Should help. Now, this was something that I thought was helpful for him to talk about because this was a criticism, not even a criticism, but this was a point of concern that I had as evidence came out when it came to his relationship with Grace Jabari. So I do want to bring this up just because this was something I thought was important to talk about.
This requires.
The prosecution has described your relationship with Grace Jabari as tumultuous and abusive. How would you describe that two-year relationship?
I loved Grace. Our relationship was, it was not healthy, and that began to reveal itself over time, but there was no abuse.
Now, that I thought was important for him to say, right? It's important for him to sit here and say, I love this person, but this relationship was basically toxic. It was bad. It was not, because that was the one thing I started to notice once more of the text messages came out, once more of the testimony came out. I was like, ooh, y'all in a bad relationship. I'm not blaming one person more than the other. Both of y'all are in a very, very bad, thing here, right? So I think that was definitely something helpful to help humanize and help maybe sway some people to realize that, like, yeah, maybe he isn't like this big bad person that people are trying to make him out to be, because a lot of people are in toxic relationships. We all just don't have microscopes all over those relationships to overanalyze them and stuff, right? But then this was the other more concerning thing that was brought up that I definitely, this made me more concerned, and I'm glad that he addressed this.
Was, and I am.
The prosecution said you allegedly wrote, "I'm a monster, a horrible man, not capable of love. I'm killing myself soon. I've already put things in motion." Were you suicidal?
I've been diagnosed with severe depression, you know, and I'm taking the steps needed to alleviate, you know, some of those symptoms, ideations of removing myself from situations permanently is a thought that I've had, I mean, since I was a kid.
Now, the reason why I liked that is because I feel like my man has definitely taken accountability, you know, and I've told you guys from the very jump that one of the biggest things that really concerned me in this whole trial was finding out that, you know, he said that he was suicidal. I think that there should be no reason why when we hear of other celebrities, primarily white celebrities, when they talk about their mental health issues, and all of a sudden they get all these levels of sympathy and empathy and understanding, that when a black man sits here and admits that he was severely depressed and he was suicidal, that should not at least get similar sympathy and empathy and understanding. That was clearly evident in their text messages, that not just him, but also her too. But there was clearly some mental health issues going on. What gives me a lot more optimism here is the fact that he said he's taking the necessary steps. You know, Jonathan has talked about him getting help, getting therapy, being in therapy and all that. And that to me, I think is something that is necessary to be heard and to be said. So I do like the fact that my man recognized I was in a bad situation. I was in a bad place, but I'm doing better. And I mean, how many times have we heard about this when it comes to celebrities? I've did this bad thing, that bad thing, whether it's drugs, whether it's this crime, that crime. Hell, even Ezra Miller, I'm getting help. I'm going to rehab. I'm getting therapy. Whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, I think what that speaks to is other people can see you're not a perfect person, but you're doing the steps that is required to be better. And that's literally the least we can all ask from any other human being. So I like the fact that he put that out there. I like the fact that he showed he is vulnerable. I like the fact that he showed that, yo, I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. I need help. And if anything, if it can work for other celebrities, there's no reason why it really shouldn't work for him as well. So I like the fact that that he brought that up. Now, of course, we do have to talk about the other thing that he brought up, and that is from the text messages, and that's with the whole Coretta Scott King thing. Now there were two clips that were brought up with this, and I do want to talk about both of those. Let's see. Hold on. Did I get them all? Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be the last one. All right. So now even I got into it with some folks online when it came to this whole Coretta Scott King thing. Let me go ahead and play the clip, and then we will talk about this to follow up.
A great woman.
There are some who question, especially in the black community, as you're probably well aware, that people were saying, well, why was he telling this woman to be like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama? Give us like the context of the conversation.
It was me trying to give an analogy of what it is I'm aspiring to be, you know, these great men, Martin, President Obama, in trying to give a reference point to that. I was attempting, and I did a terrible job at it apparently, I was attempting to motivate, to enlighten, to give perspective as into what it is I was hoping to get out of the relationship. I think that's fair.
I agree with him. And I agree that the whole Coretta Scott King thing is getting blown out of proportion. Now, it's not getting blown out of proportion for the reason some people think it is. And this is where I want to really clear this up. There is, and let me say this slow for the people all the way in the back. There's nothing wrong with any person having standards for the people that they're with or the relationship that they are trying to be a part of. Okay? There's nothing wrong if Jonathan Majors wants whoever he's with to be like insert civil rights activist here. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Do I got to go Dr. Umar and say it twice? There's nothing wrong with Jonathan Majors wanting his woman to be like Coretta Scott King, Michelle Obama, Jackie Kennedy, whatever. That's not the problem. Now let's talk about what the actual problem is for some people. Some folks just don't get it. Listen, the problem people had with him bringing this up is because while we were going through the case, where did this whole thing come from? This text message came from something from the prosecution, the people that are literally there to talk against Jonathan Majors. Okay, that was the issue. The issue at that point was they brought it up completely out of context. We didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So because they brought it up out of context, it left it wide open for people to just talk about and come to their own conclusions. People was like, oh my gosh, how dare he sound like this? He wants to be a great man. He's doing great things for the culture. Again, that's not a crime. If the man thinks he's doing something for the culture, I don't care. Good for him, but it rubbed some people the wrong way. And I think it was intentional because it was taken out of context. Now, before I go even further as to why this keeps being a thing, let's play the other side of this clip and we will address that more specifically because, oh my God, some folks just missed this entirely.
He was also present for our conversation.
You've mentioned Megan a few times.
Yeah.
We've seen her right by your side going in and out of court throughout the whole trial.
Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship?
It's a miracle. She's an angel. She's held me down like a Coretta. The relationship is still fresh, but I think I found her. Yeah.
The one.
I hope she just stick with me.
All right. This is where all the controversy came up. Okay. And I admit, I even said it too. I was like, bro, not Coretta again. You're bringing up Coretta again. The reason why he's getting pushback again is not because the man wants a standard. That's not it. You literally are invoking evidence or basically a reference that came from the prosecution that already tried to muddy your name, muddy your reputation. Why would you even bring that up as a joke? Like, dog, at the end of the day, it's about optics. I'll be trying to tell people about this, and it clearly goes past some people's heads. Optics matter. What are optics? Optics are basically the outside factors that affect someone's public perception. And when it comes to celebrities, the optics and PR around them, the perception the public has, is literally one-in-one with their professional career. In other words, it does not matter. Oh my God, I gotta say this slowly for y'all. Some of y'all out there, it does not matter if you agree with his standard or not. It does not matter, because if there are enough people out there that will basically still have a negative reaction to him with the whole Coretta thing, that's going to affect his pockets. That's going to affect. This is why celebrities always have to act and look like they're perfect. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. It matters about how they're perceived and received by the general audiences. So if you're saying something and you're invoking something that already had some people feeling some type of way, it's not a good business decision to invoke that. Similar, let me give you a similar, okay? Let's think of politics. You have a certain presidential candidate who might want to run for president, but the talk has been that they want to be a dictator. Well, it's not very good politically as a strategy to make a joke that you're going to be a dictator first day in office. Because what you do is, whether you're joking or not, whether people agree with you or not, you're going to turn off certain people that potentially would have voted for you because they might believe you. So again, this is a question of optics. This is not a question of standards. This is not a question of, well, this is the right thing to do and this is morally okay. Morals and right and wrong, that ain't the case. So this whole Coretta Scott King thing, it was really just a bad PR move. That's why he was getting the pushback. Because it's like, bro, and I'll give you another example. He was talking about Megan Good holding him down. Do you realize that everything this man said would have conveyed exactly the same way had he just left Coretta out of it? Man, she held me down. Man, she's been supportive. Man, I love her. Man, I found the one. Great. You did it. But when you're going to invoke something that the prosecution tried to use against you that already got some people feeling some type of way about you, bro, that's not a good business move. It's just not. Because now you're getting in the headlines for things that are nonsensical. The fact that this was making headlines, nobody sat here and said Jonathan Majors is seeking therapy. Nobody said on headlines, Jonathan Majors is getting his life together. Jonathan Majors is going to fight this appeal. You didn't see those headlines. What headlines did you see? Jonathan Majors and Coretta Scott King. Jonathan Majors. That's not the attention you want. And that's the reason why I'm sitting here like, bro, why did you say this? Because you got to understand how the media and the social peoples react. So I'm saying that I was like, bro, why Coretta? Because I'm looking at your career and I'm like, I want you to come back. I need you to get a better PR team and somebody to train you a little better. Bro, don't bring up nothing else that the prosecution said against you unless you got something very positive. Don't make no more jokes. Okay. Don't say no more. So anyway, that's why I think there was a lot of pushback. And again, it's an optics issue. It's a PR issue. It has nothing to do with the standards. Okay. It's okay if somebody wants to be the next MLK. Whether they do it or not, that's a different story. But that's their prerogative. Fine. All right. Now, as for the actual movie related stuff directly, and this is what I really wanted to go over. He gives his reaction to being fired by Marvel, and he also talks about his future as an actor. And I thought this is where the real meat and potatoes was for the interview. So here we
His
go.
career as a rising Hollywood actor is now in limbo. Future appearances playing Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe have been scrapped.
You hear the verdict
Yeah.
the same day Marvel drops you. Your reaction?
Same hour. Same half hour, I think. It's like the world stopped. You know, it's like you work so hard for things, and then, you know, it's done, you know? And in that same breath, I thought, man, that was cool.
How so?
I was a supervillain, you know? And I got to play multiple characters, you know, with a group of people that really cared nothing about anything else except making really cool movies and giving their actors whatever they need to tell those stories.
Let me just pause it right there so the algorithm don't stop me real quick. I'm gonna go back to it, but first of all, Marvel came with the quickness. Okay, the second that verdict came out, Marvel had that run the presses, go with it. They was on that sucker fast. Okay, but that's how quickly an actor's career can just come and go. It's very, very sad that this all came down crashing on this brother over misdemeanors. That's very, very sad. You know, usually we see these actors going, you know, getting in trouble for like really, really bad things. Like, yo, you beat somebody up. Yo, you did some drugs. You stole this. You killed this person. You know, it's usually something bigger. But to see an entire career just go out like that, yikes. Just yikes, you know. But again, this is why I was saying optics matter. Marvel, again, they had zero obligation to stick with Jonathan Majors. And I think, once again, some people get this confused. Some people don't really understand the difference between being morally right, something being legally right, and the operations of PR and business. Marvel does not care about whether you morally right, whether you legally right or wrong. It's a question of how will this affect our bottom line? So if being with someone, being associated with someone that has been in the headlines, found guilty, it doesn't matter if we agreed with the verdict. It doesn't matter if we agreed with the persons involved. How is this going to affect our business and our headlines moving forward? Are people going to constantly keep talking about, hey, you guys have this person that's accused of beating on women? It's like, does Marvel really want to go on with that? So, of course, you know, as mentioned, boy, they had that whole article in the drafts. They had that. Listen, they had that up there since March. I promise you that. They had that decision in the works for a long time. And they was just waiting. And I still give them kudos for waiting, because they could have left him 8 months ago. They could have left him right when everybody else left him. But they waited. They let the due process go through. And that was it. So they made that business move. I get it. It is what it is, but it's definitely more business than anything. But hold on. There was more that he says here.
And I'm so proud of it.
You think you'll ever work in Hollywood again?
Yeah, I do. I pray I do. But it's God's plan and God's timing.
For those who say, look, he's convicted at this point, what would you say? I mean, do you deserve a second chance?
Well, I think I do. I think I do. I hope other people think that.
Well, I'll say officially, I do think he deserves a second chance. You know, I hope that he, when it comes to Jonathan Majors, I told you a couple things he got to do. First of all, you got to treat Megan Good right. You got to not get in the headlines with no more relationship issues. Just don't do that. I definitely think he needs to take a break. He's got to just step away from the headlines for like a year, maybe 2. You just got to step back. Go ahead and fight your appeal. See if you're, now I think if you can win the appeal, I think that works. I think that definitely can work in his favor. But we've seen worse people have issues and come back. We've seen worse. Now, I don't know the legal issues. I mean, he hasn't even been sentenced yet. So I don't know how long an appeal would take. I don't know, could he get an appeal in time to come back to Marvel? I don't know. Personally, I'm not so worried about him being in Marvel. I'm more worried about him just being able to work like as an actor, because the guy is super talented. So the Marvel thing, yes, it's a loss, it's a miss, it hurts, but I'm more concerned about this brother's future overall. I hope that, again, he continues getting whatever help. He continues like just backing out, staying out the headlines. And I hope he does get back, because one thing that we've always hoped for with anybody is when you mess up, hopefully you feel contrition for your actions. Hopefully you pay them off in some way. You get whatever help. And yeah, who doesn't want a second chance? I think it would be way too judgmental of anybody to sit here and be like, well, he should never work again. Like at all? Like at all? Like, yeah, I don't know about all that. Do y'all know what happens in Hollywood most of the time? I don't know. But anyway, what do you guys think about the interview? I do encourage y'all to actually watch the full interview. I don't know how long. I think it's like 17 minutes long, something like maybe a little longer. So that little 6-minute thing is not the full interview, if that's what you saw. You can go check out the full interview, as well. But I thought it was actually pretty good for him. I still think he needs to back out. Like, don't say no more. Like, get your sentence in, do your time, hang out with your woman, support her, love her, and come back later. Come back later when nobody's looking. Jump into that Spike Lee movie, do this other role, let your work speak for itself, stay out of trouble, and be all right. I think he'll be all right. I hope he'll be all right. But y'all let me know, what did you think about the interview? What thoughts did you have? Are you mad about the Coretta Scott King thing? I don't know. Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. All right. Let's see. JM Major's got to stop invoking Coretta. I agree. From a PR perspective, no more. You can hold that value. You can believe it. You can tell your woman that all day. Just stop bringing it up publicly. Just don't mess up your bag even more. It's already messed up. You don't need that anymore. Let's see. JN, my apologies for the strong commentary on the last topic. I'm from the South. Written, spoken, and programs about race just rubs me the wrong way. No, JN, no need to apologize. Totally fine. And I understand that, especially when you're talking about blackface, right? These type of things are going to hit people more than others. Listen, I was raised in the Midwest. I don't have those type of ties, to it. Like, I'm still sensitive to racial issues, but I can only imagine if you're in the South, those things are way more impactful and deeper down there. So yeah, no need to apologize. We can disagree. That's okay. Trust me. Let me tell y'all something. Okay. When I tell y'all this whole channel, okay, as a film critic, if I couldn't take different opinions, I wouldn't be here this long. Okay, so trust me, this is what I like. I like the fact that y'all come in with different perspectives. Y'all come in with different things. Now, don't get me wrong. It's great when we agree. It's a beautiful thing when we agree. But if we disagree, if we coming from different perspectives, it is totally okay. So never, ever, ever feel like y'all got to apologize at all. Okay, so yeah. But thank you so much, Jan. Always appreciate your contributions, for real. GA, what you got? Justice for Majors. Let's get this appeal. Vote out Alvin Bragg. Listen, that's a New York thing. Y'all do y'all thing over there. I ain't got nothing to do with me. JN, thanks for clarifying the Coretta. Yes, there you go. All good. Thank you so much. Let's see. Let's see. GA, what you got? We got to do better, black people. You want your significant others to be like Sexy Red, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion. Majors had a plan, and having a drunk partner was a problem. Sure. I mean, listen, first of all, if anybody wants a Sexy Red, Cardi B, or Meg Thee Stallion, good for them. Like, if that's what you want, that's what you want. I'm not here to judge nobody's standards. If that's your relationship, fine. Now, that might not be my relationship. You know what I'm saying? That's not my thing. But hey, if other people want to do that, if Jonathan Majors wants that, cool. Like that. This is why I said I don't have a problem with whatever standards he has. As long as they're not harmful, detrimental, or whatever, fine. Do your thing. That's y'all relationship. Leave me out of it, you know. GA, what else you got? Funny how nobody making a big deal about Michelle Obama. I agree with the optics. Too bad these people are too dense. Well, I mean, he mentioned Coretta, and the Coretta thing came up. But yes, I agree about the whole Michelle Obama thing as well. But yeah, Coretta's just, I guess, I don't know, more sensational to bring up, I guess. I don't know. Rango, what you got? I think once Jonathan Majors receives a light sentence, people not following the case closely will see this wasn't a serious situation. Also, I'm up to episode 4 of Echo. Pretty good overall. Action, cinematography, etc. Cool. Let me know how you feel when you get to the finale. You know, just let me know what rating you have. You know, I'll post the little clips or whatever. So for, I think somebody else, who else didn't see Echo yet? Was it either Aisha or Nina, one of y'all, somebody. I didn't see who it was. But yeah, whenever y'all finish, let me know what y'all thought about the show. All right, guys, that is all for today. I want to thank y'all so much for hanging out with your boy. Always is a pleasure. Definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out with me on this week, on this day. I got a busy day. I got some things to do over the weekend. Stay tuned. Hopefully, might bring y'all back some pictures. I don't know who I might run into, but you know, I don't know what stories I might have, but got some things going on this weekend. So you know, your boy gonna be looking kind of crisp again, you know. So stay tuned for that. You know, I'll see if I can bring y'all back some fun little stories again. But yeah, it's gonna be cool. Hold on, let me see. Oh, okay, Aisha, what you got? There's an extended interview, 33 minutes on Hulu. It's under Impact Nightline, gives more content. Oh, okay, cool. See, I don't have Hulu, so I wasn't gonna look for it. But I watched the 17-minute one. I felt like I got enough. I'm fine with it. But oh, you meant more context, gives more context. Yeah, no, I believe it. I believe it. But like I said, I think that the interview was fine. It was cool. It did what it needed to do. You know, people, whoever's mind was going to be changed, got changed. Whoever it wasn't going to change, they wasn't going to budge anyway. So whatever. Anyway, I want to thank you guys once again. Thank you so much for being here. Definitely appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for all of the support, the love that y'all bring to this channel. It means the world to me. I will be looking at the comments, reading. I'm gonna chop this up a little bit later. But all right, guys, you guys know the routine. Enjoy your weekend, have fun, be safe out there, stay warm for some of y'all. You know, though, wash your hands, wash your butts, and everything in between. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.